All right, wait, did I put it on the right thing? There we go. Hello, everybody. We're live. Welcome back to Rocket League Central. I'm, of course, Achieves. Joining alongside me is Silent Echo UK. How are you doing today, sir? You probably didn't hear that intro, Silent, but everybody
I
else
did
did.
not. I'm sure that, I've heard good things. I'm sure it was wonderful. How is everybody?
Yeah, we're doing good. Let me actually do a little bit of editing on your camera. I didn't quite set it up perfectly. You were so close to beautiful. But
Is this
there we go. You'll get a little bit of a
okay?
mute screen as we figure out everything. So, let's get everybody up to speed here. Get everybody up on how things are going to work today. We over here at Rocket League Central, we're doing a little bit of a test, sort of, for a couple of things. But more importantly, this is an opportunity for a lot of the teams that are moving into the RLCS, into the top 128. To really prove their mettle against all of the other teams, fight for a little bit of seeding as we move into those play-ins. So we decided to run pseudo Rocket Royale style for them.
Well, it's a test of the format. We're doing Swiss into playoffs, and then we're also there's some things on the horizon. We're testing out new graphics. There's a lot of things going on with this stream. But were we even going to stream it? I think it's just that the match is going to be too good.
Yeah, definitely. It should be a good one to get started up. As we are waiting to start our first match, I am pressing all the buttons today, so I'll be casting, streaming, doing all that things. But let's go ahead and give a quick little rundown of what we expect to see in today. This is a Swiss-style format tournament, and for those of you who are unfamiliar with how Swiss works, basically you have rounds of teams, and say in the first round everybody's 0-0, so you play according to seeding, and then determining what you do. So say you win 3-2 in the first round. In round number 2, you will play another team that also won 3-2, and then you sort of go up proportionally to that. So however your record is, you play another team with that same record in the next round.
Exactly, and that's a really good way to find the best teams as well. That's the beauty of a Swiss tournament, is because each round is generated, you're always going to have the best matchups as far as the sort of historics of that tournament go. So by the time we get to round 5, these are going to be some seriously intense, very close matches for everybody who's actually playing in the tournament. And that's obviously, we want to find the best teams and take them through to the semi-finals and the final, and see who actually comes out on top.
And of course, we do have a prize pool for today's tournament. It is going to be $150, so not a lot, but if you guys would like to donate to it, it will indeed go up. So all of your donations will go forward towards that prize pool. Do not feel obligated to it, but if you feel like these players deserve a bit more of a reward, you are more than welcome to. So go ahead and do that. And I am currently figuring out how to edit all of the teams and add all the stuff, because we're trying to test out a bunch of different graphics here. So our first matchup, actually, we do have the information on it. Actually, tell you what, Silent Echo, let me do you a favor. You can set up the in-game lobby while I go ahead and mess with all these overlay buttons. So let me get started here. We've got, make sure it's in there. Okay, there's Excel. Yes, this is good. This is
Excel good.
Then we need to add all the players to it. So let's see. Oh, wait, I need to create a new player. He's in Europe, yes. Okay, so, of course, for XL, it's going to be Niels Cook, Zensis, and Pondex. And then blue team going to be Alex, 161, Data, and Repex. So, a lot of players that we're all very familiar with. Let's just go ahead and pull up that in-game overlay, because I can do that. So, while we get this lobby set up, give you a quick little transition into what our graphics looks like. So, these are basically over on the right-hand side on Epsilon. Normally, if we had more time and we knew exactly which teams were going to be casted, we have all of these ready, and we could very, very easily show you all the players on both sides. But this is sort of our upcoming matchup. It's going to be Excel versus Epsilon. Once again, Niels Cook, Zensis, Pondex versus Alex, Data, and Repex. Silent, give me a little bit of a rundown. How do you see this one playing out?
I'm excited to see this. Pondex did absolutely great in Sweden. Was the last time we saw him, I think, in a serious competition, and that was he was playing fantastically. Unfortunately, Penta is no more, and we've now see him moving in with Niels Cook and Zenzus. Niels Cook also had a good showing in Sweden, so that's sort of the closest touch points I have on those guys. And Data and Alex, those guys have been around in the community for quite a while, and so I think all in all, it's going to be a good I would say, lower upper tier, upper mid tier. Where do you think you rank these guys against the people who you think will make league play?
Yeah, upper mid tier as well. There's certainly potential for, I think, maybe Niels Cook, Zinsis, and Pondex to make RLCS, but definitely thinking both of these teams more rival series material. Europe's always been a bit of a crapshoot with it.
Europe's always been a mess.
Everyone's
we don't even have the flip side, we them girls to point at and just go, those are the two best teams, everyone else somewhere below. But yeah, it's all over the place, and that makes it exciting as we come into the play-ins this weekend. You've got to make sure you tune into that. If you can, I'm sure if you're showing up for a surprise Rocket Royale Swiss Super Swiss Royale just out of nowhere, then I'm sure you're probably going to be watching the play-ins as well. But make sure you note that time in your diary.
Yeah, definitely going to be a good one. Of course, we can talk a little bit more about some details of the RLCS. The total prize pool across all of it going to be $400,000, $350,000 of it going to the RLCS, $50,000 of it going down to the rival series. So we've talked about, let's see, Excel, Epsilon, Niels Cook, Zinsis, Pondex. Pondex, of course, had a brief stint with the Leftovers back during X Games. So, interesting to see how he plays with Niels Cook and Zinsis. I don't think I've seen them play together yet.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, I think that's the case for quite a few of the teams that we're going to see today, where we're not going to have anything specific that we can talk about with them, just purely because we're coming right out of the jumble that we get from having. Looks like we got these guys ready to go.
Excellent. Let's go ahead, hop into games. These are best of fives. It's going to be best of five all day long, so it makes our job really easy. But let's go ahead and get things underway as Pondex starts off strong just off the back wall. Zinsis lurking and Data able to make the recovery. Good save, but nice early pressure here from Excel. Alex, back wall, a little bit of a piece caught by Pondex. Tip off the spoiler, long race. Data's not going to make this one. Zinsis strikes first.
And just see them getting caught out of position here. Data and Repex. Data's actually turning in when Repex has just caught him in no man's land. Zinsis, great placement on the shot, just getting it right over the defender, out of the reach of Data, who's rushing back, and already 1-0 up in the first 20 seconds.
All right, so very good start for Excel. Data, Alex, and Repex kind of having to figure out how to deal with all this kickoff pressure that Excel have managed to generate, it seems, on both kickoffs so far. Zinsis a little bit strapped for boost, only having about 40 to work with right now. It's time to go get the midfield boost. Pondex, not the cleanest save attempt. Did get the touch, though.
He was coming out of a really awkward position. I think he was actually moving backwards when he jumped for that one. So to be able to stall himself, make sure the ball's not going in the net at all, and it actually does get cleared. Great work.
Repex sort of hovering forward, hoping his team comes up with a clear. Data having to make a very difficult save attempt as Niels Cook applying a bit more pressure over on the blue side of things. Data off the back wall. Unfortunately, Repex waiting for the bounce. Didn't get the one he wanted. And another drive will stall here for Epsilon. Missed clear, follow through.
Oh, this all comes back from a bump on the wall between Niels Cook and Pondex. Niels Cook actually bumping Pondex down the field, which meant that he wasn't able to get back anytime soon. Zinsis, after he got beaten with the first hit off the backboard, it's a very easy cleanup.
Well, things all locked up in here. Epsilon doing a pretty solid job, able to fight back. Couple opportunities, and the defense from Data so far has definitely been exceptional. As Pondex with a long drive back to his own net. No problem for Niels Cook to clear that one away. Great challenge up on the sidewall from Alex. Pondex actually coming up empty. And Pondex, of course, longtime Batmobile user. He's found himself on the Octane today and jumping really early for that ball for some reason. Is able to recover, perhaps noticing all the space he had, and Alex no problem pushing that one away.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Pondex on the Octane, not the only player to be moving away from the Batmobile in recent times. So interesting to see how that's going to pan out. But these guys are still looking very even as we move into the sort of third minute here. And in the best of five, it's way too early to even be able to tell who's going to come out on top.
Right now, the speed just a little bit too much here for the Excel guys. They're just able to get out in front of these touches. Finally, a chance to clear, though, for Epsilon. It goes right at Niels Cook. Not the best attempt as Alex off the back wall. Zinsis able to come up with a touch for this one. And the drive will stall again for the blue squad. Repex, pressure towards the right side. Will be off target. And Zinsis able to go right over the top of Data. Alex there to meet him. Brilliant positioning on the challenge in the air. Pondex once again back in net for Excel. He will push up the sidewall. So close to getting that pass out. Unfortunately shut down. Data and Alex trying to figure out who needs to be in net. And the long clear. Repex wants one off the ceiling. It's on frame. Zinsis bets clear, not there. And Data lurking. Viking 2-1.
And here we see something that is a common mistake in so many teams. Defending from the near post, 2 players there, nobody at the back ready for this ball to bounce loose. And Data taking a really good opportunity there to take the lead.
Solid showing there from Data. He's been a pretty solid defensive force, we've already said, but he's so patient on offense. Puts Epsilon here in the lead. And it's so interesting that Excel really haven't been able to generate much more beyond their opening drive. They've had plenty of stints over on the blue side of the pitch, but it doesn't seem like they're able to follow through on a lot as Repex makes another tough save.
Well, Epsilon are doing their share of the defensive work to shut down XL here, but we're just seeing them...
Oh!
I mean, really, what we're seeing is Data just shutting down every one of the good opportunities that XL get.
I agree. Very difficult save he just had to make behind him and still able to get there. Pondex trying to keep things in the mix. That's a nice high pop. Unfortunately, Zinsis heading out the other way can only go towards the top of the box. It's a 3-man's push over on the right side of the field from Epsilon. So now they all spread out. Data once again lurking in the midfield. Tries to go to the right side and pushed away by Zinsis. Niels Coke over the top of one. Repex able to make it back in time. Pondex wants the pass out to the top of the box. Zinsis right there to meet it. That's tied at 2-2.
And this is just a really nice play coming out from XL. Just a very solid Pondex coming down. He was trying to touch it to Zinsis, but that's not necessary. Zinsis is able to get over the top of Data. We equalize this up. 1 minute and 9 left on the clock, and this is already looking like it's going to be pretty even. Swiss format bringing out even matches, and always good when we're in the 3rd round and it's looking this close.
Definitely have to agree with that. We've hit the final 60 seconds of game number 1, as stated earlier. This is a best of 5. Data, Alex, and Repex done a pretty solid job so far. Tough touch for Repex to keep things in front of the orange net. Alex wants a crazy one too, and he gets another hit right in front of the net, and Data again comes and smashes it home.
What a lovely read from Data here as the ball's just bouncing in this super grey area. Anybody who's defended shots that are bouncing there, what a read from Data, correcting down the way, making sure he's boosting down, getting as much speed as he can, beats Niels Cook out, and, well, 46 seconds left on the clock. There's a good time to score and take the lead.
And what a job by the Epsilon crew to get up in front of those clear attempts. They didn't get them by much, but that's all it takes is 1 or 2 pixels, and they're able to keep it off the backboard a few times. They come up empty. Alex can't find it. Zinsis actually able to throw it off the post. Alex finally able to cover that near corner, but that has got to be just crushing if you're Excel. Pondex collides with Repex. Data one-on-one. How about a bump attempt? Zinsis towards the top, and Data still able to hang on. He's been a wall this game.
Data with the recovery there to be able to get that touch was fantastic.
Alex now, not the best clear. Repex on the back wall, kind of having to float down. Wonder how much boost he's got. This one out towards the top. He can't get it down and off the bar. Actually, no, it's off Alex. I didn't see the save attempt. He's able to make another one. And 2 seconds left. Data throws it wide. What a defensive show from these guys. But how about the last one? Zinsis comes up empty. What a game 1.
That was just beating at the wall of Epsilon for a good portion of that game, and they were doing extremely well in their territory to stop the ball from going in the net, but not doing quite so well at transitioning it out. But still, that defensive prowess able to take the edge, and they take this first game. And I mean, if you're XL, you just feel awful after that.
You really have to. You look at the shot count, 11, 12, 13, 14 shots. Over on the other side, they had, what, 5, 10 for Excel, so a heck of a job on defense. Data, of course, with 5 saves that we saw, and Alex
and
a really
Repex
couple.
Whenever, yeah, I mean, they were all doing solid work at the back there. But I'd like to see them take it out of their territory a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see what adjustments the Excel crew makes here on the offensive side of things. Zinsis had a chance there at the 0-second mark to perhaps find the equalizer. And the 1-2 touch is really strong hit off that back wall. Pondex in a one-on-one just can't quite find that flick. The Octane flick is a tough thing to learn, and especially coming from a plank style of play with that car. Probably doesn't have it fully under him.
With the Batmobile. Oh, Pondex! The defensive miscue here, and Pondex able to just drop that into the net off the backboard.
Yeah, he didn't even really go for that ball initially off the back wall because he presumed somebody was going to clear it. He was purely playing the miss, and what can you say? Sometimes you come up empty, as Alex did there, and Pondex says, thank you very much. Strong clear from the side wall was Data. Another one off the back wall. Pondex empty. There's Repex, a beautiful 1-2 touch, and they've equalized quickly.
There's some great call and response going on in here. I think every goal has been in sequence, but Repex there taking a lovely pass from Data, putting that into the near post, well away from the two defenders on the Exile side. And I mean, it's difficult to say exactly how this is going to go. As I say, it's just continually close work from these guys, and great work at transitioning out from the offense and defense, both sides putting up.
Niels Cook actually catching a piece there of Alex, but big miss clear. Zensis has going to be a tough recovery. Tried to put it high and well out of reach, and unfortunately pounded it off the bar. Alex would love to have that one back, as Niels Cook unable to find the clear from Repex. Alex probably going to have to challenge this one himself. We'll take the boost in the corner. This Data once again so patient out of the midfield. Niels Cook, Pondex moving behind him into net off that back wall now, and just got a little bit too much pace on it was Data, but the pressure seeming to mount here from Epsilon as that one pinched downfield, and again another clutch save from the Blue Screw.
Great reaction. There was some pace on that touch.
My goodness. Well, you know, fun fact, Silent. I forget who it was. I think it was Badger, Rawlings, and myself last night. We were saying, how interesting would it be to have like a mutator where, say the ball's going 120 kph plus, and there's a 1-2 touch off the back wall, Niels Cook to Zensis.
Well, I mean, that's... sorry, I was really focused on what you were asking me there, but Niels Cook with a great pass into Zensis, finding the perfect spot behind the defender, and back and forth, it's like watching ping pong right now.
I definitely agree, but to go back to the previous point, we were saying, how interesting would it to be to have a game mechanic where, say, the ball, Data kept away by Niels Cook, the ball going 120 kph plus, say you hit it, you do get the hit on the ball, but it demos your car.
Ooh. I mean, you're playing with fire whenever you touch any of Rocket League's mechanics, you know? Like, it just feels like so cleanly engineered at the moment. Maybe not in terms of the implementation all the time, Psyonix please, but it's very hard to think of something that you can take away or something that you can change which doesn't change the core spirit of the game, which I think is why, you know, sometimes the extra casual playlists don't catch on maybe as much as they might if there was a rank mode or something like that, but at the core state, I think the mechanics of Rocket League are pretty sublime at this point.
But that's the best part. It's not an actual physics change. It's just a mechanics change. Because I think the physics change are the bigger thing.
That's fair.
Definitely something to toy around with. Zensis trying to do it himself as Data, again, so patient against his back wall. The 1-2 upfield. How about the 1-2-3? Data so soft and down into the top left. That was a beautiful 1-2 touch between the both of them.
Oh, fantastic control coming out from Data there, and Alex with the mid-air pass, and Data just catching it perfectly on his wheels. I think he might have actually managed to trigger his dodge reset there as well, but just catching it perfectly on the bottom of his car to drop that into the top corner. And it's so hard to judge those, you know, you've got to hit that at the perfect angle. Air roll is so much more important when you're hitting it with the wheels because of the huge change in momentum that you're giving the ball in terms of slowing it down.
Oh, what a pinch. All the way downfield. Is it on target? Yes, it is. They're not going to reach it. Niels Cook and Pondex.
And this is why they added Calculated as a quick chat for those of you who have been playing the game since before it was there. It didn't used to be there, but moments like this meant it had to be. And what a pinch right off the back wall.
Data throwing out the nice shot. Can't really blame him for that one. And
no, not at all.
Is exactly why they added Calculated. You are correct. Oh, Pondex.
And Savage as
well.
Straight down.
What a read from Pondex.
Again, these guys, you know, I love the fact that we're getting to the point where these veteran players, you know, people who've been around forever like Data and Pondex, Niels Cook, these guys all know exactly where this ball's coming down off those bounces, and they're reading it every time. And it's so refreshing for, you know, somebody like myself who slums it at Diamond to see players really knowing where that ball's going.
Yeah, to be fair, Repex was actually right there on the back wall, just didn't quite compensate enough for the speed. He was in the proper position, just missed the clear.
For sure. I mean, it's so hard to know when to jump off the wall. It's so much finer tuned than it is to come off the floor or even the ceiling sometimes.
Oh wow! Everybody coming up empty there in front of the orange net. Thankfully, nobody there from Epsilon to smash it home. As again, we approach the final 60 seconds. Nielscook needs boost, leaving the net wide open. Alex can't get behind this one and can only throw it off the back wall. And Excel get a chance to clear. Repex, Alex out towards the middle. There's Data. Zensis can't quite shut it down. Follow through again from Data. Repex is needing to find Alex out in the midfield. And it will stall out as Excel able to catch on to the game plan. And the 1-2 going to be kept away by Data.
The defensive style of Epsilon is really starting to show through here, but almost another breakaway there. But these guys have been mostly relying on breakaways. So with XL not putting on quite as much pressure as they were and soaking a little bit more, I say that as they're deep in the blue end, but the lack of pressure they're putting out is actually working in their favor right now because Epsilon aren't being given these breakaway opportunities.
Yeah, and it's not a bad way to play, as actually they'll get their own capitalization chance here as Epsilon trying to make something happen, trying to push aggressively. They need 2 goals in 20 seconds, and you have to send the house. And unfortunately, sometimes you get shut down.
Yeah, well, you gotta risk it to win it, you know. And while there have been games that I've seen with 3 goals in 18 seconds, I've never seen it at this top tier of play in a very, very long time.
Ooh. Well, to be fair, I think the last time I could remember. RLCS, Marky Duda, the hat trick in 14 seconds. Do you remember that?
Oh, that was season 1, right? That was.
I think that might have been season 2. I think that was season 2.
I don't know. I'm losing track at this point. You know, I only went to 1 of them, and there's been 3, and we're on the 4th. It's very confusing for me.
We've seen so much Rocket League.
I've seen a lot of Rocket League at this point. I'm not gonna lie. You know,
pro players play games. Yeah, I remember that. When
just from going to DreamHack, I saw a lot of Rocket League. But you were right there with me the whole time.
We were. Tell you what. Do me a favor. Go into the match settings. Never mind. We'll have to wait for next game. I was gonna have
you wanted me to switch up the arena?
No, put the team names like on the actual thing. On the scoreboard.
You know, that's something that I should have thought of doing. It's not like I didn't do it enough times, like we said at DreamHack. But you know, in fact, actually, I was very proud of us all. We managed to not. I don't think we had maybe 3 overlay issues total over the course of Atlanta. That's not bad work for the amount of games we had on.
Yeah. There was certainly our fair share of games casted at Atlanta. Repex starting game 3, however, off with a solid save, as that one's going to be high off the back wall. Little tip from Data, throws off Nielscook. Went for the bump on Repex for Zensis to have a chance at it. And things shut down. Oh, that's right. I forgot the game number. This is game 3. Pivotal game 3 in a best of 5.
Oh, well, I mean, it is just a best of 3 now.
It is just a best of 3. As the next win in this series definitely puts a death grip on your opponent. Data trying to slow play this one. Didn't go for the pass. Had Repex lurking on the opposite side. Trying to do a little bit too much himself. Nielscook able to recover. Actually, somehow get that ball through a defender, as wants the dunk as well. Pondex, tough angle, goes straight down, and actually able to find the open net. Oh,
there we go. That's a great shot coming out. Data just not quite able to get the power on the clear there, but Pondex with the read. I mean, he left the ground before Data, or as Data touched that, so great work seeing that opportunity, putting it into the net, and the mechanical skill from Pondex. You know, we might be used to seeing him in the Batmobile, but he certainly seems to be making waves with the Octane.
Data trying to get that dribble going. Such a defensive force back in game number 1. We haven't quite seen the same level of defensive prowess out of Epsilon since that game number 1. Zensis with a lot of time. How about a pinch? Back wall. Pondex can't track it down. So close. Nielscook a nice high tap around 1. The 1-2 kept away by Repex. Follow through. Nielscook right at the middle. And Data able to keep that one away. Pondex now off the top corner. Nielscook tough angle. Tried to flip around to the outside of the ball and just couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing XL be a lot more measured in their offense compared to in game one. They were sort of throwing everything at the wall, gave Epsilon a lot of breakaway opportunities. But in game two and in this game, they really have shown an ability to adapt to their opponents. They're just putting on very precise shots. They're not putting on too much power that allows, a dunk clear that will, give the ball much more distance into the orange. They're just keeping it just sort of casually moving around in the defense, slowly draining down the resources of Epsilon.
Yeah, you say that. As we just saw Nielscook drive around those corner boosts, trying to make it very difficult as he will not take away the corner boost right there. Let it go to Alex, trying to set up the pass attempt. And it's going to be a race
Ball
here between Pondex.
Who would have thought?
Right? Like, I don't even remember the last time that was a thing.
This is just EU Rocket League, You've been seeing a lot of NA Rocket League.
Nielscook and Pondex trying to go back. One towards the left side, no problem for Data. Now it's a 1-on-2 in favor of Excel. Alex right through one, and it's a tough save. Pondex very fortunate nobody was there.
That was a wonderful half flip catch from Pondex there, just beating out the blue player. I didn't catch who it was. It was Repex. The half flip catch is always nice.
Oh, Nielscook actually going to leave this one. Pondex so tough to win those 50-50s between the Octanes. The optimal challenge angle coming through for Epsilon. Missed touch, and Nielscook just racing in from the midfield to punch that one into the corner. Long clear downfield to buy them time to reset themselves. Now Repex going to stall out. Data finally going to take himself out of the play. He was kind of in no man's land out there in the middle for a little bit. And just said, you know what, somebody else probably has a better read on this than I do. And it's always good to realize when you're in a scenario like that, because it's very easy to throw off your team's rotation. Towards the right side, Zinsis pounds it off the back wall.
Yeah, I've always said that, Rocket League is all about rules, and the good players know when to break them. Rotation has, there's a rhythm to it, but sometimes you do have to turn, sometimes you do have that open opportunity to get a goal, and you got to take it, and the best players know when to do that, and don't mess up the rotation too much by doing it when they shouldn't.
Ooh, nice little poke out towards the corner from Data. This one thrown off the post.
Clear.
Data to Alex, trying to get it back to him. I'm not sure how much boost he has. It's on target. Nielscook kind of took himself on. It was not on target, my mistake. But there's the follow through from Data. They will equalize with 46 left.
And in the first game, they took the lead with 46 left. Seems to be a magic number for them at the moment, keeping them a little bit more alive in the series. In the rest of the tournament, in the first two rounds, Epsilon actually lost 2 games against XL, only losing 1 game. So although they're both 2-0 in the set count, as it were, losing this set is going to be really, really important. You want to be ahead of the game when you go through the middle round of a Swiss tournament to stand a good chance of making those playoffs.
Final 30 seconds here in game number 3. Repex hard off the sidewall. That's not going to help the cause, but Data already back on defense. Ooh, a long clear downfield. Epsilon would love to take game 3, as would Excel, because after that, the next one wins. This one over the back. Nielscook on target. That'll do it. 9 seconds left. It's a prayer for Epsilon.
I'm losing you a little bit of Chiefs. I'm not sure if it's coming through on your end. Might possibly just voice app we're using, but Nielscook there doing a great job scoring it away. 2-1, 9 seconds left to go. I'd say that this is the end, but it's much easier to come back from 1 goal than the 2-3 that we saw last time. But doesn't look like there's enough time here for Epsilon.
Ooh,
is this going to get kept up? Good play from Zenzus, killing it down to the floor.
Yes, I've transferred, as you said, I've transferred my my consciousness over to Skype, because I had to get that terrible muted symbol off of your face, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So let's go ahead and talk about that one for a second. Nielscook, Pondex, Zensis able to edge things out. Zensis, no shots on the scoreboard, but 8 and 5 for Nielscook and Pondex respectively.
Yeah, these guys really just, like I said, put on much more measured pressure before. In game 1, they were going so hard at it, and that was just opening up opportunities. They were a little all over each other when they were in the blue end, and that allowed Epsilon to really break away down the field. And we saw the amount of saves that they had coming out, and then able to take that first game. But now we see XL getting a little bit more comfortable. They got a read on Epsilon. They know what they need to do. They're using precise, measured shots, putting them into the box, putting pressure onto the blue squad. and Epsilon just not showing the ability to be able to deal with it there.
And again, plenty of saves, though, for the Epsilon crew. A 9, I believe, if I counted correctly. So we move on into game number 3. They've proven themselves capable. It's just really generating that offensive pressure at this point, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Epsilon just need to be a little bit more aggressive and not rely on, they'd be playing as a judo team, turning the enemy's strength against them, but they need to step it up a little bit, maybe move into some jiu-jitsu or capoeira.
Ooh, Data, that would have been so pretty. Zensis able to sit on one, and Pondex towards the back wall. He will scoop up this corner boost. Niels Cook, a nice little delayed touch out towards the midfield. How about a 1-2? It's high. Pondex wants to do it himself, and Repek's going to just come out and take that one right away. Zensis trying to remain in command out of the midfield. Alex, chance for a pass. Pondex maybe expecting the extra length out of the Batmobile. He took a very aggressive angle.
Yeah, this was definitely something that I think is, Octane problems. He would have had that very easily with the Batmobile. Data able to get that pass out from Alex, though. Great close corner work from the Epsilon guys, taking the lead early in this game, which is very important for them.
Niels Cook on the dribble. Doesn't pick up the midfield boost. Data did pick that away. It's Alex, the third man back. He will be in charge of catching the rebound here. Zensis. Actually, a smart backflip from Alex right there. He was about to go up and challenge that and said, hang on, I'm beat. It's not worth wasting my boost. Unfortunately, that corner boost didn't spawn from Excel. He had to take himself out, but we were past 1 minute of play. Epsilon on the board first, I believe, when they won. No, they haven't scored first yet in a game, have they?
No, they haven't. And the thing is, as well, is that we've already seen their capability to really, hold the door closed against the opponents. So if that wasn't meant to be a Game of Thrones reference, it just turned into one. But
oh, what a save!
But the Epsilon guys, they're out in front. We've already seen them to be very strong defensively. Out in front is definitely where they want to be. They were behind all the way through the last game. They lost that game. If they can stay ahead, they only need to... Winning by 1 goal is still winning,
Winning by 1 goal is very much still winning. Long clear downfield. Zensis not able to find it. Quick backflip from Pondex, trying to keep himself in the right frame of reference for the play. Tries to get that quick pass towards the top of the box off the corner of the Octane. Not a decent... or not that...
Pondex was actually out of boost as he was trying to dribble that out because Data stole his mid boost on his rotate back. So there was a very awkward situation there, but XL still managing to keep their heads above water. They just need to get it back into the blue end and score a goal.
And they've got plenty of time to do it. We're not quite at the halfway point of game number 4. And a win for XL.
Nobody's ever scored in the last 2 minutes of a Rocket League game at Choose.
Ever.
It's never happened.
I mean, I can confirm in all of my 3,500 plus hours, I have never scored in the final 2 minutes of a Rocket League game. See, it's not possible.
I've just never scored.
It's not possible.
But 1-1 right as we move past the halfway mark. Pondex there with a lovely little touchdown. Look at that. And then Zensis with the professional top-tier goal steal.
I agree.
That is what I like to see. I want to see teammates taking points from each other so they can rib each other after they win the series.
I agree. Top-tier goal steal, indeed. Zensis, that's a great pass, high and out of reach. Repek's almost made it, and now he's got to be strapped for boost. He is very much going to take himself out, leave the net to the capable hands of Data, who has been a heck of an offensive force so far.
Offensive, defensive, he's just been a good Rocket League player at this point, I think.
Niels Cook, a little bit of space to work with, goes right around 1, but the follow-through from Alex close behind. Trying to keep things in the mix here. A little bit of space for Pondex, wants Zensis down! Repex recovers, follow-through from Niels Cook, left side, Excel back in the lead.
Repex with the right idea here on the save. Zensis with the gorgeous drop there. Repex jumping off the wall, using his dodge to keep himself in place so he can get a touch on the ball, but it's just not hard enough. It's not off to the side, which I'm sure is what he was looking for. Niels Cook able to come through, bury that, and, well, 2-1, and we've already talked about how Epsilon really don't like playing from behind.
Yeah, it was a heck of a play by Repex. You're kidding? There it is! Oh, he was so close. Who was that? Was that Niels Cook in the net?
No. That was, well, Pondex was hovering for it, nearly got the touch off the backboard. Niels Cook did get the touch, comes off the crossbar, but Alex is there to tidy that away. And, I mean, Pondex very nearly with the hover play trying to catch that bounce. after he missed the initial hit. Great presence of mind from him because he's pretty much useless at that point anyway.
And another nice quick answer from Epsilon. Both of these teams, whenever their opponent has scored, they've certainly been able to answer in fairly quick fashion.
You get teams like that, though, teams that need that kickoff reset to sort of, I don't know whether it's a mental reset or a physical reset on the pitch in terms of boost, location of players, how predictable everything is. You know, the longer it goes on after a kickoff, the more variables are introduced. So those quick responses can be sometimes a really good strength for a team to have. Problem is when nobody scores, you kind
right?
of
Then you're just done.
Yep, never mind.
Niels Cook.
Which is pretty much what happened in the second game, actually.
Yeah, pretty much. Pondex, that's a tough angle, and he didn't shut it down. What a shot from Pondex.
You know what's scary is that if he had been in the battle middle on that, it would have had about 50% more juice with that angle coming through, but still just catches the back end of Data. Data positioned, you know, his side onto the ball. You've got very little you can do when you're side on. That is a huge blind spot for you. The only way you can generate sideways momentum is by side rolling. It fixes your height. It's very difficult to use it for saves, and Data caught out there as the ball rebounds off him into the net.
Oh, what a win from Niels Cook out of the midfield. Zinsis went for the bump, didn't have the boost to catch up to Alex. And that certainly is a godsend for the Epsilon team, as they need this win right here to force game number 5. Repex, high off that back wall. Data just going to rush all the way back to net. He's got a little bit of time and a little space to work with. Quickly shut down by Zinsis out of the midfield. It's a hard pinch off that corner. Alex so patient. Data right behind him in the net. Pass forward. Last 10 seconds. Epsilon need a long clear here, and this is Data's best chance. Comes up empty, and it will be shut down. Pondex goes towards the back corner. That will do it. Game 4 over to Excel. I believe we had 1-goal games all the way through, but they just couldn't quite stick it out.
Apart from the 5-2.
Oh, did we have a 5-2?
Yeah, or it was at least a 4-2. I mean,
yeah, okay,
cast a memories, lot longer
right.
than the previous 4 seconds and 15 seconds into the future, so that we can be completely wrong about it. But definitely XL doing a great job, coming out on top here. And this win, like I said, so important to them in the Swiss. That's going to take them into the 3-0 category, where we already have leftovers and Method sitting with the all British except for Flarkey sort of sitting in that 2-1 mark, which Epsilon will be at, which is where a lot of teams are starting to fall into. But 3-0, it's a very, very good record to have. Sorry?
3-1.
No, 3-0 in the Swiss.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah, so 3-0 in the Swiss, going into round 4 of a 5-round Swiss. That is contention for playoff spot. It's where you want to be as a team, and it leaves them very, very happy, I'm sure. Epsilon still have a chance to sneak through there. It's the great thing about Swiss, because the matches get closer and closer. Anything can happen, lots of upsets. And those 3-0 teams, they're going to be playing each other. Somebody's going to lose, and it really starts to even down. Yeah,
and I believe Gale Force right now, they're sort of the untouchables in terms of
9-0 game count. It's
they're at the
tasty.
Top of it. They're at the top of it for sure. So let's see. Do you know if we have a next match? I don't think we have. Yeah, because we have to wait. That's the thing about Swiss. You have to wait.
We have to wait.
You have to wait for all of the matches in a round to finish before you can generate the next one. So tell you what, we're gonna go ahead and throw it to a quick little break. When we come back, we will have round 4 of our Super Swiss Royale here on twitch.tv/Rocket League Esports. Stay with us. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the 4th round of our Swiss Super Rocket Royale here on Rocket League Central. I believe, Silent, when I threw us to break, I said we were on Rocket League Esports. That's wrong.
That was wrong. I messaged you immediately just to make sure that you knew the depth of your shame. Should you have a pencil near you, you could have committed Sudoku.
Thank you. I definitely would very much like to commit Sudoku. It's a fun brain teaser.
All about the 9s and 3s.
It's very much. The 9s and 3s, definitely. But it's round number 4 here. We have leftovers versus Method. This is going to be a good one. The Method guys, of course, fresh coming off of those grand finals over at the 2v2 arena, unfortunately fell short to Gale Force E-Force. Gale Force E-Force. Words are hard. Gale Force Esports. And then, of course, Snasky, Sicky, and... Oh, I'm thinking they don't have Pondex anymore. They got Maestro for the leftovers.
They did. Yes. Sorry, I'm way out of it.
I had to think. I was like, wait a second.
Snasky, Sicky, Maestro, and then on Method, a lot Magnus and Mercenarius. And of course, Method, really tearing up a lot of things at the moment. They're doing really well. They had a good showing in the MBC event with the twos. Be interesting to see them back on the 3v3 stage. They've been doing well in Gfinity. There's a lot of things going on for those guys at the moment. But the powerhouse EU players all around here, all of these guys have seen League play, and I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Well, we'll have to see how play out here as Snasky back on his customary dominance, which is one of the things that made me think he was my favorite European player, because he is one of the few. The double touch from Sicky. Maestro so close on the follow-up, and the leftovers coming out swinging here in game one.
So are you saying that his snazziness is not enough on its own to make him your favorite? Oh, no. Okay. I see how it is.
Dominus or bust, if you're asking me.
Fair enough. Well, he is literally the only one, so... Everybody else in the EU has accepted the Octane.
And it is a shame. That's why when at RLCS LAN Season 3, the Alpha Sydney guys were all in the Dominus. I was like, you're all the best people I've ever met, and I've never even met them.
Yeah, and Tauros, what a guy. I mean, his car control with that Dominus, fantastic.
Tauros was nuts, confirmed. Maestro towards the net, long clear from Mercenarius. Snasky stalling things out here in the midfield. 1 minute of play elapsed. Apart from that brief stint at the very opening section of the game, the leftovers have been able to do an okay job of keeping things over on the blue side, but no real quality shot chances since then.
Well, nobody's really been doing anything yet. I mean, we were talking about other things. These guys were just quietly getting to know each other, and hopefully we're shaping up into something a little bit more aggressive here with this breakaway opportunity.
So we see long clear downfield, kept away. A lot towards the side wall. Not going to get cleanly through Snasky. It's a lot. One-on-one. Sicky in the net. Limited boost to work with over on Sicky's side of things. It does have a couple teammates behind him. A lot. That's a great pass. High off the back wall. Metza kept out. Sicky just able to make it back in time. Still strapped for boost. And Leftovers doing a good job shutting things down. And they needed that long clear from Snasky right there. My mistake.
Sicky's finally got boost. He stood on the boost until it respawned, just out of the frustration, I think, that it wasn't there when he went to get it in the first place. But Method, they're just fending off the leftovers guys, although the shot quality from both teams not fantastic yet. I mean, since we haven't had a goal.
Snasky trying to find that long pinch clear. Would have been beautiful. Magnus going to take that one away out of the midfield. The 1-2 soft hit, wanted the dunk, and trying to sit right on top of it. The leftovers end up going right back towards their own net. The leftovers recently, they've kind of been looking a little shaky as Mercenarius finds the open bottom left 90.
And I think it's because the magic of the leftovers is gone. You know, these aren't the leftovers players anymore. They've got history. They haven't just scrapped together on the last day to make sure they get to, have the fun of playing the RLCS qualifiers. They have expectations on them, and I wonder whether that is affecting them somewhat.
We'll have to see. I certainly am really curious to see how the Maestro pickup works out for them. Of course, Pondex moving on to other teams after that decision was made, and Maestro, we've really known him to be a very, very fast and aggressive player over on the Northern Gaming side of things, and it's honestly been a really long time since I've actually gotten to see Maestro play as the 1-2 touch kept away by Snasky out in front of the net.
Extended vacations while on a team didn't work out too well for him, it turns out.
Right? Who knew?
I know.
Snasky trying to get a cheeky fake around in the side wall. Not quite going to get through. Magnus now applying the pressure. Sicky actually missing that touch, and A Lot doing a nice job keeping that ball grounded. Very tough defense here for the leftovers. Down and in. A Lot does it himself. And I believe that was, yes, Metza applying the finish
Yeah, Met's able to put that into the net, but a lot just doing exactly what he does on the most of the teams that he shows up on, where he's just generally in the right place, kind of doing the right thing, and he turns a lot of sort of situations that you'd look at and go, it's kind of fine, I guess, and he turns them into situations where you're going, hell no, set it on fire, please.
Ooh, Sicky, the long cross. There was Maestro lurking right there for it. Empty boost can, as actually the mid boost spawns as he goes right over it, down and almost in. Snasky so close, and the leftovers needed that one.
Yeah, and almost the same kind of goal as well, just Sicky going from much higher up on the wall, and that extra time for the ball to fall gives that defender much more time to read it and get that out of there.
Touchdown field. Snasky so close to finding that redirect. Lot hard off the sidewall. Pass across. There is Sicky. Comes up empty, though. Not able to put that one on target. And time definitely a big factor here in game number one. Method looking pretty solid, I believe. Are they also 9-0 in the Swiss? If I looked at things properly, I think they are.
They are 9-1 right now.
Okay. I was close.
So, still good. The only team that's got that particular tiebreak right now is Gale Force. So, which is obviously huge for them, being 3-0 in the set and 9-0 on the games is a massive contender for. Oh,
Metsa Norris out of the backfield, pulling a page out of the old market with K-Dop, Fairy Peak, and man, who was that? No, not Mystic. K-Dop Fairy. Yeah, it was Mystic. K-Dop, Fairy Peak, and Mystic. Yeah. They'd have a lot of demos out of the backfield, and Metsa Norris stealing a little page of that book, leaving the net wide open. The lead extends to 3 in game 1. Pretty much a write-off at this point.
Yeah, I think that at this point, Method have really shown what they're capable of, and just a lot of solid team plays, good control of their territory, not too bad on the boost possession, and definitely opening up opportunities wherever they can with lovely little passes from a lot, nice little demos at the back, and they try as they might, but they just can't get the consolation. That's just so savage as well. Even at that point, the shutout never fun for anybody. I mean, that's a solid game coming out from Method. And these guys have been playing together for a long time. I believe that Magnus and Metsa Norris have only ever played together, and a lot has been playing with them for
a long time.
A significant length of time now.
Yeah, really. And leftovers didn't find the back of the net from lack of trying either. It was really just the shot placement.
Yeah, they were there.
Because you can see, 8 shots? They've only made 4 saves over on the Method side. So the other 4 just smashed off the post and then the back wall. And so close to really keeping game number 1 in contention. But we move on now into game number 2, and we'll have to see the leftovers.
Hey, it's the leftovers, right? They just reverse sweep. It's the only way that Snasky knows how to win.
Oh my gosh, so close to getting that pass around Magnus. Now a lot. Didn't quite secure his corner boost. Yeah. Still had 65 in the tank to work with, though, so able to find a bit of a clear. Some brief release. Metsa pushes one towards the corner off of a rifle from Sicky.
So much of Rocket League at this tier comes down to oh my goodness, Maestro! What a double touch off the post. I'm not entirely sure how intentional the double touch part of it was, but a great angle coming in there.
I believe it.
Slotting it right between the two. I can believe it as well, actually.
I mean, I'm sure he wanted it in, but I mean,
I flew to the other side. I had a better look at it. Yeah, he definitely saw what was happening and adjusted for it. But still, impressive work coming out from him. And also, these guys just went a whole 5-minute game without actually sending anything into the back of the net. 30 seconds in this one.
That would have been so pretty. The quick slap out towards the top of the box.
I love those reaction shots. They're not particularly crazy mechanically. There's just quick thinking, presence of mind. And oh my goodness, there's one right there.
Yeah, and I hopped over to Sicky's camera, and he got caught grabbing a little bit of boost as Magnus just like, I can get this. And Maestro a little bit slow on the take-up of that ball, thinking he had more time to work with. Said, you know what? I don't see anybody coming. And then Magnus just out of the midfield from a bit of a blind spot just stole it away.
Well, Magnus would be the first to say that he's not the most mechanical player in the world. There's lots of players who are much better than he is mechanically, and he will say that himself. I've seen him say it on his own stream. And the thing is that what he focuses on is positioning, and that was a great case where he was just in the right place at the right time, and you don't have to be that good mechanically to do well there. Kind of like OG Gibbs way back in the day.
OG Gibbs. Time we all yearn to come back is what a tough play for Maestro. Snasky can't quite get it out, and Metsa Norris is indeed rewarded for his efforts.
Yeah, we see Metsonoris here, the more mechanical player out of the Magnus Mets pairing. Shot placement there could have actually been better, but he still makes it work. It's still a goal. He comes out, but right at the defender, not my first choice to make sure the ball goes in.
This kickoff going to be favoring the Method crew, as Mets wanted a ceiling pinch perhaps, didn't quite line it up. Sicky and Maestro attempting their own variation from the ground. Snasky to follow through right at Magnus, no problem. Hard win out of the midfield for Maestro, and they bean it. There's no other explanation.
That is awkward. Magnus there, just not quite able to get the touch in. That ball gets flipped over the top with Maestro taking the last touch, so he gets awarded that. But a lot of Metsonoris, both on that near post, both unable to do anything about it, and we've got a tie game.
Hitting the ball is the biggest crutch, and a lot wishes he hadn't. Sicky, quick pass out to the midfield. It's wide open, no problem. Snasky slaps it home.
I mean, it feels like a different Leftovers that we're watching compared to the last game. You know, we've already seen them just come back straight away. Maybe they don't need the full reverse sweep. Maybe they can just do the partial.
Okay. So you're saying they end up losing game number 3.
I mean, I think that, well, I mean, maybe
because I'm curious about your definition of partial reverse sweep. I'm going to grill this.
I always call a sweep, a run of games in a row. So a partial reverse sweep is they didn't need to. They didn't go 2 down and then
I got you. So they lose game 1 and then just go 3 in a row. Okay.
I mean, what I'm saying is the Leftovers are steadily progressing towards being a team that never loses.
That would be the greatest team of all time. It takes you a while to get there, but once you do, you're unstoppable. You're kidding. I can't believe Maestro just let that float down. To be fair, he didn't have a lot of boost to work with. We were on his camera for a while. He only had 11 right here. Oof. And what happened?
But that 50 from Sicky, so unfortunate, and then Snasky, just able to secure that goal for the blue team. It's 2-all. Both teams have scored 3, just sometimes not in the right color nets.
Maestro. Off the sidewall is Magnus. Pass upfield. There's the 1-2. Metza in the perfect position to shut that pass down, and Elot steals it away out of the midfield.
Maestro is actually looking to rotate back for that back boost, but just no time to actually see that. As soon as he lands from that front flip, he's curving back in towards the goal. He's trying to get there. He does hit supersonic, but it's just never going to be enough for a lot, putting that, just far enough away. He doesn't need to push it and risk missing by hitting that left post, but he puts it close enough to it.
My microphone muted. I knew that.
Oh dear, I was waiting. I wasn't sure whether you would have been able to hear me and I was going to cut you off, or whether everybody else could hear you. I'm not sure what just happened, but feels bad, man. Hey, it's been a while since the last time we did a Royale. But we gotta have occasional production issues.
I'm A+ right now. Ooh, a lot.
Didn't that just take you down to A? You didn't make a mistake.
Oh, you're right. How about a solid B+? Quick pass towards the top of the box, lower right-hand side. They're in the lead by 2.
And all of a sudden, we're starting to see, a little bit more of a repeat of game 1. I mean, the Leftovers, they came out swinging, but Sicky just not quite able to get there. Sicky, rightly regarded as one of the best defensive players in EU, and I mean, he's doing some work, but not as much as I might expect from the back.
Well, the Leftovers still have a minute here. It is looking more and more likely, however, that they will require their full reverse sweep. As Sicky, so patient up on this side corner. Nice little touch to get it through 1, but no follow-through out of the Leftovers. As Snasky kind of driving around, hoping for a cherry-pick chance here. It's a long way to that ball, and Magnus just keep that away as well. Out towards the middle. Is it open? Maestro, left side. They're in one.
And that is just so very close. 37 seconds left on the clock. I mean, could leftovers do it? I mean, we've seen them do crazy things before, but Maestro finding that top corner, wonderful touch from him, picking that up in the midfield. And I mean, if you're Method, you just lock the door, bar it, brick it up, bury it underground.
Ooh, a lot wisely goes high, leaves it for Metza, pass upfield, actually just out into space, just waste precious seconds off that clock. And Snasky trapped all the way back on his own end, having to respect the long clear. That's a great bounce, though, away from all the Method people, and they are able to get just enough on that ball to force the shot high from Snasky. Sicky now missing the touch is Snasky. Hard out towards the middle. Snasky can't sit on that one either. It's a couple of attempts for Snasky here. Maestro off the back wall, kept away by a lot. And this should do it. Metza wisely lets it fall. Method take game number 2.
Oh, that's great work from Method, but there was a moment there where leftovers really should have equalized in the last minute. There was one moment where all 3 of the Method guys were on the near post. 2 of them were pointing the wrong way, and the ball was in leftovers possession. And you know, in an ideal world, that's the moment that you equalize right there, right then. I think it was something like 18 seconds left on the clock. There was a perfect opportunity. Huge defensive misplay from Method, but they're able to bring it back anyway. These guys are doing really, really good work, moving this ball around the leftovers, forcing them to have to chase every single goal, not letting them sit on their laurels as soon as the leftovers go up by anything at all. Method bringing them right back down and taking that game back.
So let's see, what do you think happens here? The leftovers, like you said, they're able to generate plenty of pressure early on in a match, but it kind of seems like Method, they really don't do anything too crazy. They kind of just sit back on their own side and hand leftovers they hand leftovers a rope and say, hang yourselves.
And then they ceiling shot for out of nowhere. Metsonoris. Definitely a great mechanical player. Does some silly things with the ball. He actually had some fantastic mechanical plays in the NBC tournament, Universal Open. That was it was very interesting to see Metza and Mog in their twos environment as a nice. Very old pairing, but Maestro there, able to just pick that up off the rebound off the defender.
Yeah, and this was also a really nice drop from Sicky, not getting too greedy. He knew he had a teammate off to his left, and Maestro managing his speed well after that first touch towards the net. You're sure it got saved, but able to make the follow-through, and more importantly, put it well out of reach for the second effort. And that is, once again...
This is what I want to see from leftovers. These guys are all great ground guys. I want to see more ground passes coming out from them. Maestro is great at continually applying pressure. Snasky's in the dominus and knows how to use it, and what a pinch off the back wall there. Oh my goodness, look at that clear.
Yeah, speaking of... knows how to use the Dominus. That is something that I've been struggling to perfect. The perfectly timed clear off the back wall. It's a tough thing.
I mean, it's a tough thing in any car, but the Octane's so much taller, it does give you a little bit more leeway on it.
For sure. Snasky towards the right side. Magnus pushes that one aside, no problem. Metza and a lot trying to combine, perhaps hoping for a pinch downfield. Snasky will buy a little bit of time. Sicky so patient right now. Just lurking around his net, ready for anything. That's a good pass towards the middle, but again, that patience paid off, and it's no problem.
I was worried there. Sicky left himself with some huge blind spots with his positioning, but fortunately, a lot taking the shot right at him. He's able to clear it up, but leftovers, they can't afford to make any mistakes here. Every time they make a mistake, that's an opportunity the Method have to equalize. That is something leftovers cannot tolerate. This match could be so important in terms of the overall getting into the playoffs. These guys are on the same record. They're on the same game count. It's not going to take much for these guys to come down to just a pure head-to-head tiebreaker at the end of the 5 rounds, and whoever wins this game is going to win that tiebreaker.
Brilliant read there by Snasky to just shut down the pass out of the Method crew. But again, in the previous 2 games, this is about the point where Method really started figuring out leftovers, and leftovers had a pretty decent lead. They were up, what, 2-0, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it just fell apart.
Yeah, they've been 2 goals ahead several times in game 2. And if they get shut out here, like, that's going to be so huge for them in terms of all of the things that are important in Swiss, because Swiss is very rarely the actual set score that is the most important thing. It's going to be where your tiebreakers fall.
Ooh, it's a race to that midfield boost. Sicky lost it, and Snasky now trying to feed that Octane up the side wall. Great pass from a lot. Shot from Metza just off the post.
Goodness.
So close, and Snasky comes up with a clutch save. Follow through from Metza, blasting it into the top left. It's equalized.
Remember when I was saying earlier on, you know, the best guys know when to break rotation, and Metza right here should have been going back, but he sees the opportunity, he sees the open net, leftovers way overcommitted on the defense, and he's able to take that goal, equalize it, and 127 seconds left on the clock. I mean, Method could just close this out. I mean, it's got to hurt really badly mentally. Oh, the pull shot from Maestro there, nearly actually working.
It is definitely very much a mental game in just about any competitive sport, esport or otherwise.
Oh, of course.
And the leftovers being put through the ringer. Is this one out in front? Metz can't find the follow-through. Snasky off the back wall. The leftovers, oh man, they are having to make some really tough defensive reads to try and get this one away. And finally, pressure relieved, but Method, I mean, it feels like their attacks are just so deadly.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're very precise. You know, you've got this great positioning coming out from Magnus. You've got this wonderful playmaking coming out from a lot, and you've got Metanoris, who's just capable of doing things with the ball that he really shouldn't be able to do, and he does them at the best opportunities, generally speaking. But then you get moments like this where, you know, the defense wasn't great, but Maestro had nothing. They knew it. Metanoris able to clear it right back out, and look at that play right there, a lot. Oh my goodness.
Utilizing all that space. It's just, a lot. Kind of struggling to pick up that corner boost. He did not get it. It's only sitting on 34 right now. Pass upfield, wants one on target, slaps one in. It's just around Maestro. Boost is a crutch.
Who needs boost? You know, I've got a good friend. He plays so much better when he doesn't have boost because he's thinking a lot more about what he's doing. I don't think that's the case for a lot who is always thinking about what he's doing. But what a great cherry pick from that! And what seeing the pass as well. You know, that pass was in the perfect place for him to be able to redirect that.
And he whipped it towards net. 127 kph. Sicky downfield. Metanoris over to Magnus, out into this corner, and that will just waste precious seconds off this clock. The leftovers desperately need something here. It would be a shame to see them get 0-3'd as Snasky just can't find the redirect. And there it is, into the top corner. Sicky feeds Maestro.
Leftovers, I mean, you need to buy a new chair after watching these guys play because you've worn out the front of your seat. Just every time you think, you know, they're just done now. They're just continually resilient. They bounce back from it. And, you know, we talk about mentality, but these guys, you know, they're out there. They're really trying to make it happen here. Despite everything going against them so far in the series, they're still hard at work. And Maestro, I thought he was going to do it there. I really did.
They've got 12 seconds to avoid overtime. It seems like Method perhaps might have the last word here. Maestro long clear just to throw that way out into the space, and then upfield for Metza. It's a very tough play. He will let it fall, as will Snasky. We'll go into overtime. And if the leftovers win this one, Silent, what odds do you give them?
I mean, if the leftovers win this one, it's like, as Method...
oh, no! You're kidding! No! What? You're kidding!
Wow. How is that how this game ends? I mean, of all of the ways, Maestro off the crossbar misses the bounce, and Magnus just coming through, flailing at the ball, doesn't realize just how much time he has. And you just asked me what the odds that the leftovers win this. I mean, definitely higher the way that goal happened. I mean, definitely higher. Like there is like it's hard right now if you're Method. You know, on the one hand, like you know for a fact that leftovers, you know, reverse sweep monsters. That's all they did last season in RLCS. Okay, the players changed slightly. You got Maestro in now, but the reality is, it's like they can just go through and they can just mentally. This is going to chip away at Method. It's going to wear him down, and then the way that goal went in as well, like it's just painful.
Oh, you're kidding! Oh my goodness, Maestro. He found a.
Oh yeah, but what?
He found a clear, and then got a pool shot on a Method guy, and then got the follow through to almost put that one in, and that one's just wide. And you have to wonder if Method had been just a little bit more on point with their shots last game, because how many did we see them just blast off the top bar?
Oh yeah.
We'll have to see what happens here in game number 4. The leftovers, I've got to be at least grateful to at least find a win in the series.
If I'm a bookmaker, I'm closing the book on this series right now. It's just not worth it. No matter what I choose to do with the odds, I'm gonna lose money.
Maestro, nice little boost to eye and a demo for his troubles. It should be an open net. It is indeed. Snasky finds it.
Yeah, there's no chance for on the rotate there. The demo is so crucial. A lot was the last man in this situation. You still see Magnus. He's coming back from taking the end boost there. Snasky sees the opportunity, takes it, and I mean, I don't even know anymore. You know, like there's no trends that we can look at in this series. Everything's just been all over the place constantly. There's these two teams jockey around each other, slowly switching up the way that they play to try and catch each other out. And I think that we're actually seeing a very interesting rhythm come out.
Sicky. Plenty of time to work with here as Metza just waiting on that boost pad. It does finally spawn. Nice high tip from Alat. Back to Magnus. Do they find it? The 1-2 comes up empty, and again, just not able to find those angles all the way down and into the net. Method, such an effective attack. They've had plenty of decent shot opportunities on net. It's just making sure that they're on target.
Well, I mean, they...
What? Oh! Magnus.
Okay, Magnus.
Okay, there we go.
Calm down.
Oh, he was so close.
I think he... Look at its ceiling reset as well. Oh, so beautiful. He nearly makes it happen. I mean, I was just saying earlier on that he's not the most mechanical player in the world. Like, that's comparing him to the really top tier guys. Clearly, he still knows how to do some stuff. He just doesn't like doing the custom training.
My goodness. If that would have went in, you could go clip that one, no problem. What a pass from Alat, and it goes off the bar again. Alat, a beautiful twist out to Magnus.
This is exactly what I'm talking about with Alat. You know, he's just a playmaker. He just does stuff that causes goals. And sometimes it's stuff that you would never expect anybody to do, but he just does it, and it works. And honestly, I mean, if you're looking to vary your playbook up, just spend a bit of time watching Alat and then try and replicate whatever he's doing, because that's going to give you a whole lot of variety on offense.
Currently, Alat waiting in the midfield for the side boost. Does he go for the boost? Yes, he will pass this one outfield. Not going to have enough in the tank to reach that one from Metza. It's Magnus now so patient. Pass. Do they go the 1-2-3? There it is. Out to Metza. Slow tap. How about another fake? No, he will go right at him. Follow through from Alat, and it's beautiful passing from Method.
This was great. I love the fact that they actually used one of the leftovers here. Sicky's in net, he's side on. He doesn't have a huge amount that he can do. Alat knows this. He's just tracking right behind Metsonoris. Coming out of the sun with Metsonoris is the sun in this instance, just to take Sicky by surprise and get that goal. Really creative play, and that was so many sequenced, precise passes. I love it.
Snasky making sure to get that one into the corner. Only 8 boosts to sit on in the net. Sicky to Maestro, hard towards the right side, and that is a quick one.
There is a quick response from leftovers. They're keeping it close. You know, we're two for two in this game. These guys have been fairly close score-wise all the way through. There was just that first game where Method, you know, shut out leftovers. I'm not sure where the defense we saw there has happened or has gone, or whether it is just that leftovers have stepped up their accuracy.
Well, Maestro has sort of taking over a bit more of the shooting responsibility. In game 2, I believe he had 6 shots on net.
That's a good point, actually. Sicky is spending a lot more time at the back, which is really his best place to be. I've never seen Sicky do particularly well when he's not the sort of most passive player on the team. With Snasky being all up in their face and Maestro taking some good shots, there's a good opportunity there. Sicky, though.
Follow through. Snasky there. They do it. The leftovers. The 1-2.
And here we go. Sicky trying for that double, not quite able to get it. Maestro trying to get up and above that. You see the way he's trying to tip his car up over the ball. Doesn't quite manage it. Actually puts it just high into the wall. Snasky able to tidy that up. Method's defense just left bouncing around. You got to have somebody up on those backboards for those bounces, otherwise those just become an absolute nightmare for the defense.
Oh, quick stall from Magnus in front of the leftovers net. Bit of a scrum for that corner boost. Everybody resets themselves.
Oh, doubles though. I do not want to see doubles from leftovers on defense. Ooh. That ball just floating free.
Snasky, very tough save, cannot come up with it. Perhaps jumping a little bit too early, and Metza makes him pay.
And you can trace this all the way back to 2 leftovers guys being in that corner. So difficult for them to then reset back into the rotation, make sure that somebody's back in net, and that left it open. You can just see the knock-on effect of poor positioning decisions that can have. But Metsonoris, of course, I mean, fantastic shot. Finding the open space in the net is so important on those opportunities. You've got to make them count. They haven't been doing that all the way through this series.
Ooh, quick pinch. Snaski almost able to find the reaction. Sicky again, so patient in that backfield, missed the corner boost. It's going to delay his push, will get shut down for it. If he had picked that boost up the first time around, it would have been easy pickings getting around Method, but another chance kept away by Snaski. Sicky, center attempt. Maestro very slow to that ball. Magnus no problem beating him out on the dribble through 2. Can Snaski reach it? A lot out of the side. Will take that one away. A lot of space to work with. Not the strongest shot on target from Sicky. And we're sort of approaching overtime. 2 games in a row. Snaski sits on top of one. Metsonoris now the one with space to work with as he goes around 1. Maestro lurking in the back corner. Long shot.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh, Magnus to a lot. Not the best pass. Hard out to the midfield. They let it bounce. Metsa turns off and lets it go just in case. They launched one at the net. And better safe than sorry as we move into overtime here in Game 4.
Well, this is I can certainly see why Sicky decided to let that one drop rather than making a play. Obviously, resources on his team probably to do with it, but also leftovers have done so well out of kickoffs. They love that reset situation, and they didn't get the quick goal on kickoff. So I am curious to see who it is that's actually going to win out this. What is just going to be an attrition siege back and forth.
Oh, Snaski almost owned gold and took his team right out of it. Hard touch off that back wall. Maestro able to follow it. No problem. Needs 2 there. Magnus comes up empty, and they're going to have to reset over on the Method side of things. It's a nice hop. Beat out the leftovers in Sicky. Hard off the side wall. Maestro can't reach it. Magnus comes up empty, perhaps expecting a touch from Maestro. And it is just pressure upon pressure here for the Method crew, and finally a chance to relieve it, coming from Snaski out of the midfield.
And this game is going to be very, very important because it needs to get closed out now. Method, they don't want to take this to a Game 5. They want this game score.
That's a soft touch. Here's a chance for leftovers to move back into the offensive side of things. A lot. Big miss. Magnus shut down by Snaski. It's out in front. Nobody there to follow through. Another challenge between Maestro and Metsonoris. This one down. Weak touch. Should be easy pickings for Magnus. Here's actually a chance for the Method guys. It's a race to the ball. Sicky loses out. How about 2 from Metsa? Doesn't have it in the tank. Can't quite.
He was going in a completely different direction to where I thought he was, it turned out.
Right.
From certain angles, that looked amazing.
Snaski, 1-2 touch. A lot just able to beat him to that ball. Softly off the back wall. Easy for Metsa. Sicky, how about 2 off the ceiling? Back towards the middle. Maestro, so patient, just trying to make sure to keep his team in command. Snaski waiting all the way back in his own net. Pushing forward now, the 1-2. It's towards the right side. Magnus left to get boost, and Metsa left to clean up the mess. A beautiful touch from Snaski out in front of the box. Did not steal that corner boost. And an attempted pinch clear from Method will clear the area. Oh, so slow from Metsa. A lot coming up nice and early for it. Would have definitely had all the defenders beat, but that's such a precise attempt.
This is scary. Oh, Magnus, I didn't think was going to get that out of there for a second.
Oh, they got tied up. Metsa and a lot, my mistake. Just kind of got tied up in the midfield about who should be taking that ball, and leftovers were out grabbing boost and trying to figure out who needed to be where, and perhaps their best chance by the wayside here in overtime.
Best chance so far, anyway. With these guys, you know, they're going to keep on trying to create these opportunities. But I mean, the possession handoffs from both teams coming in a little bit more frequently in overtime as everybody's a little less aggressive. You know, it's overtime's a very interesting beast because you want to throw everything at the wall because you only need 1 goal to win, but equally you only need 1 goal to lose. So then you have to be more defensive, and you kind of flip back and forth with trying to keep the right amount of pressure on. And so far, these teams, you know, they're in some kind of an equilibrium. 3.5 minutes of overtime already.
Yeah, Snasky in this overtime has certainly come up with a few touches to set Method on the back heels for a moment. We'll have to see if one of them eventually results in a goal-scoring opportunity. Touch towards net. It's not around Metsanoris. What an attempt at that ball. The last man standing holds the line.
Oh, what a pass into Magnus.
Snasky in charge of the defense. Slow dribble towards the sidewall, kept away by Magnus, no problem.
Oh, the ceiling pass.
Oh, back wall, a lot off wide. Magnus wants the left side. That's gonna do it. The placement. It's been a struggle for the.
Oh, that was amazing. So what you saw there, Magnus goes up, hits the ball directly up, drives it up the wall, and hits that off the ceiling. Metsanoris this whole time barely moves. He knows exactly what's happening, and he just jumps forward into that ball as it comes down off the ceiling. That puts enough pressure on that we're able to actually see them take the goal and take the series. And 3-1 is going to be important on a game score reason, because at the moment, if you look at the bracket itself, we have actually got some match results through, and so far XL, the only people that are showing for me on 4-0, and I'm just pulling it back up. Yeah, 4-0 for XL, 3-1 for FMW, 3-1 for Citans, 3-1 for BX3, and it goes down a little bit more, but the game scores are what's really important there, because the best one I can see is 10-5.
Yeah, I mean, overall, like you said, the game score is so important moving into the playoffs. So Method, that leaves them at what? They were 9-1 going into that round, correct? Now they're what? 12
yes, they
and,
were.
12 and
They were 9-1, I think. I'm losing track. I'm losing my mind. Like, these guys were playing for such a long time. We've got a lot of teams going on. Swiss, obviously, figuring it out. But yeah, it's. Sorry, I tell a lie. Yeah, Method at the moment sitting on one of the best game counts so far, 12-2, while XL are at 12-1 for the 4-0. That's so important for them.
Not half bad. Well, Leftovers, they put up a pretty decent showing. It took them a little bit to get going. Not a lot of effective offense early on in the series. It started to pick itself up. Snasky and Maestro really doing a nice job on offense. And Sicky sort of putting himself back in that third player position, like you said, and I actually got a chance to talk to him back at the X Games. He's like, I'm really not a striker guy, and definitely showed there later on in the series, and it almost paid off for him, but not quite.
It was so close. The Leftovers, they did what they always do. They put on a damn good show. I mean, anybody who says that Rocket League isn't an esport that's interesting, you just watch the Leftovers play, and you'll be nail-biting like the rest of us, and hiding behind the couch occasionally if you're really on the Snasky team. But with those guys, they're just not quite able to make it count, and I do worry a little bit. There hasn't been much time for Maestro to bed into that team. He was on a very different style of team. Any team with Sicky on it is just not going to play the same way as playing with, the likes of Remco, and that Maestro needs to fit into that rotation a little bit better. Snasky and Sicky, they know what's going on with each other. Maestro is just occasionally double committing on defense, that kind of thing. He needs to trust Sicky a little bit more and trust Snasky to get the ball out to him, and I think that they're going to be a very, very solid team. Look out for them this weekend in the play-in.
Yeah, for sure. Not a lot of time left. The play-ins for Europe this Sunday, and the Leftovers going to have to pick things up. Method looking strong, but when we come back, we will have... Actually, wait. Before we cut... Silent, you're leaving. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
I mean, well, I'm for this year, I think I'm casting the highest quality matches of my life. So the last time I cast was in, I think, April for Shift. So, thanks to having on clearly a washed out analyst, it's been a blast to see Rocket Royale come back onto Rocket League Central. Looking forward to the future. Looking forward to this season of RLCS, and just generally watching a lot of Rocket League at the moment.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining me. When we come back, Sfernaday and myself will take you through the final round of Swiss, and then we will move on into the playoffs. So, when we come back, it's going to be round number 5 here on Rocket League Central. Oh my gosh, we got put straight into in-game. Okay, let's hop in. Give me a sec. Welcome back, everybody. It's Galeforce versus Copenhagen Flames. Fernandez with me. Let's do it.
We're gonna start this right off the bat. when we first just gave it to them, I guess they were just like, no, we just want to play. So whatever. Sometimes cues get miscommunicated, and that's quite all right. Or just some people are just really excited to play Rocket League. I know I'm really excited to play Rocket League most of the time. I don't know about you, Chiefs, but sometimes you just gotta go with the flow.
Just most of the time. Not a lot of fun other times, but most of the time, no. It should be a really good one. Gale Force, actually, they came off their very first loss in the last round of Swiss in round number 4. They played Frontline, which is Ferry, Bluey, and Chaussette. Bluey and Chaussette. Frontline took games 1, 3, and 5, and Gale Force actually had a Brazil in game number 4, and they came up short. So Gale Force suffering their first loss.
Yeah, surprisingly out of that. So we'll see what comes out of here. Copenhagen Flames has been playing fairly well so far in this matchup as well. Remember, again, we're playing a Swiss bracket this time, which is kind of cool to see. New kind of format here. Myself, not knowing a ton about the information, it's kind of cool to see a new different taste to it. And K-Dop's going to nail the upper 90 right here with a great shot from the back wall.
Yeah, he was really patient moving upfield. Didn't really commit too hard until he saw Baca just run off to the left side, expecting his teammate to come and take that one from the center of the net, and just couldn't quite read that bounce. And K-Dop says, okay, if you're going to let me take a shot, I'll make you pay for it.
For sure, as K-Dop's going to take a shot straight on net here, but Fruity's going to be able to get that save right there. Now leaving that off here, we've got save here off the back wall from Violent Panda. That's going to leave that opportunity good for them so far. The AE on a
Right.
Bike, I believe is his name. If I got that, if I
I-
don't, I apologize. I will be able to do my best to try to pronounce that properly, but if I don't, just go ahead and let me know. We'll be able to fix that for you for sure. As Violent Panda is looking to set up an opportunity, back wall. See if we can give that over to Violent Panda. He can. The great shot on net here with a 2-goal advantage now.
Yeah, Violent Panda and K-Dop, very, very dangerous team. Of course, as we saw over on the NBC, they were indeed the grand finalists, and they give a quick 1-2 touch. K-Dop to Violent Panda, and they find the top center of the net.
3:12 left to go. Sitting ahead now, 2 goals. It's going to be quite helpful for them going down the stretch, but of course, anything can still occur in this game. Plenty of time left to go, not even sitting halfway through yet. Maybe Ogan's going to try to fight that one with Violent Panda and exchange 50-50. Violent Panda's going to win it. Now back to Baika. He's on with that one. He's going to fight with that and see if he can get anything. Turbo's going to take that one away. Now up to Violent Panda. Leaves it off for Turbo Pulse to take that. Right off the back wall. Once again, Violent Panda's in place, but a good save. More importantly, a good clear from Baika is going to help him out.
So for those
Right now
of
we've
you...
got Baika.
No, I have to. Okay. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the Copenhagen Flames, they spend a lot of time over in the Gfinity 3v3 arena. There's sort of a team that we've seen consistently make that quarterfinal occasionally, and they spend a lot of time towards the round of 16 matches. So, I mean, Copenhagen Flames, not a particularly bad team. We just don't get a lot of chances to see them on stream, and unfortunately for them, they're kind of suffering from having to play against Gale Force Esports, sort of what many would consider the #1 team in Europe right now.
Yeah, for sure, especially the way that they've been playing between DreamHack and everyone else. It's been crazy to see what Gale Force has been performing lately, and it's definitely a scary thing to come like here for sure. But like you said, Copenhagen Flames, they have the ability to put up a fight. It just depends on what kind of fight they're willing to put up here. As Copenhagen Flames is going to center that one here into the middle. What a save here. Now leaving that over to K-Dop to give that to Turbo Pulsa, but stopped by Baika. Now we're going to have Turbo Pulsa getting a light touch on that one with his wheels. Leave that towards center mid. Now coming up here is K-Dop. He's going to be able to get a double touch, but it just hits off the post right there. Just a little too far. Or is able to go in here. Now Fruity is going to clear that one away before any potential danger is going to come in here. As we've seen Gale Force come in with that great aggression before. So far, at least in this game, they put in some opportunities. If it works, it works. If Bayogan is going to be able to take that one off of a pass from Fruity.
Yeah, I was so surprised that Violent Panda didn't immediately come forward as soon as he saw that little bit of a botched catch from Abigand, where it sort of popped up. I thought for sure Violent Panda was just going to streak out a net and take that right away. Unfortunately, decided to sit right there, and I mean, as we say in our private matches for today, he got diddled.
Indeed. Spike, he's going to just... I think he might have ran out of boost there. Not quite sure what had occurred with that one. Now the opportunity is on hand, and once again, but Violent Panda is able to react to that in time off the shot off of the ceiling. Now going off this Fruity. Turbo Pulse now with the power shot on net, but a good save from Veno again. He's going to help him out. Now to K-Dop. He's going to take this one onto the ceiling. Give that off to Violent Panda. See what he can do with it over in the corner. Vika. Now off to the other side. See if he can make an opportunity for his offense here. Comes Fruity. Pass to the Veo again. That ball's in the middle and dangerous. Now sitting up in the air. He's going to get the shot on net. He's going to slap it right off of Turbo Pulse's back. And he's going to put that one through the net. Tie game.
So, really, this is kind of surprising to see Gale Force get thrown that far out of position. I mean, Copenhagen Flames sent the house on that sequence right there. They were just like, everybody's up, everybody's applying this massive amount of pressure, and for once we saw a Gale Force team finally double commit for a ball in front of the net, and it threw off what we normally see, such tight defensive rotations, and where they really do a nice job staying out of each other's way, and that one mistake cost them here in the final 20 seconds as Violent Panda makes a save.
Great save there for Violent Panda. We're sitting now with 5 seconds left to go. Tie game, seeing if this was going to carry it out or if we're going to go overtime here. But Violent Panda's going to put a shot on net. The Bayogan's going to come in here with a great save. Just really, really needed that one there for sure.
As we move into overtime, kind of surprising that really Copenhagen Flags. I'm 0 for like 7 at this point.
It's okay.
Copenhagen Flames.
It's kind of like your actual Rocket League game. It's usually not to take a net and how many goals you don't make.
Roasted. Oh, I can't even.
Anyway. Yeah, one thing's for sure, I'm kind of surprised to see that Copenhagen Flames has performed as well as they've had so far. What do you think?
Yeah, Copenhagen Flames, that's really the thing that's impressed me, their ability to shut down the offensive capabilities of this Gale Force crew. I mean, we often say that Gale Force is one of the best defensive teams we've seen, but they've got like Europe's MVP in K-Dop, Violent Panda, one of the strongest support players, and Turbo Pulse, a brilliant flex player, making a save right there. It's just so surprising that they weren't able to find the back of the net more times against Copenhagen Flames, so all credit to them.
Right, and you know, I guess we'll see what comes out here for sure, as Copenhagen Flames has played fairly well so far up to this point, but sitting here now in a minute, we're going to leave it over to Fruity, who's going to get that one off of the back wall, and Bayogan's going to try to take a shot on net, but directly at Turbo Pulsa. And now the counterattack is in place as Turbo Pulsa is going to take this here from the corner. Right on top, Fruity's able to contest that one. Now back to midfield we go. Bayogan's now with it. He's seeing what he can do. Turbo Pulsa. Out it here, he's right underneath the ball. Let's see if he can take a dribble on that one. Directly from the corner. Comes Fruity, exchange that 50-50 with Turbo. Turbo is going to get that one and flip sides. Now going off. Right now, I think one thing that I've seen so far is that it seems like Gale Force really hasn't put together that set passing play yet, which kind of surprises me. They put in passes toward the middle, but they seem very routine. And they don't seem like they're trying to just really push in that extra little touch for them right now, it seems like.
Yeah, I definitely agree, because we saw a lot of that at DreamHack Atlanta, and the Gale Force crew was one of those teams that first really showed how to utilize a lot of that horizontal space. Chance for Fruity.
He's got this. Oh, K-Dop, great save there. As I thought for sure, from my camera perspective, Fruity was going to be the only one back there, but K-Dop was able to get back in time. Well done from his part. As we're sitting about halfway through a second game here, in the first game that they were so eager to get into. Going to follow it up here as off of the back wall. Turbo Pulse, a shot straight back down. Put that right into. Ooh, interestingly enough, sorry for the ooze right there, but goodness gracious, the pressure from Gale Force was just unrelentless. Let's go back and enjoy this replay here.
Yeah, and it all actually kind of happened. Copenhagen Flames, they all committed for that initial shot, and we actually saw two of them hit each other right out in front of the net. And as soon as they both landed, they said, "Hang on, what is happening in this game? What do we have to do?" So, tough break for Gale Force. They did not Gale Force, for Copenhagen Flames. They did such a brilliant job all throughout regulation play, holding out very strong for everything. So let's take a break. Oh, wait, wrong one. That was supposed to be caster switch. Give me a second. There we go. Okay, so there's the caster change. Overall, like you said, Gale Force not doing the best job, I felt, of utilizing their space horizontally, and I think that could be a product of what they do related to their MBC 2v2 play. Violent Panda and K-Dop probably spending a lot of time preparing for that 2v2 tournament, and I think they kind of have to refigure out everything for the 3v3 environment.
Right. And I think one thing, just to kind of touch a little more on what exactly I mean by it is that, I think when you first start learning this game that you really want to just, your routine is take it to the corner, pass it to the center, teammate's going to be there, and see if he can beat his opponent. And that's what we saw at Gale Force to start with. And usually when you see it at this level, it's usually a situation where you're kind of just going through the motions, and it doesn't feel like it's well composed to be able to do that, because usually the opposite team is going to be able to react to that really easily and sometimes punish you with a really bad counterattack if your rotations are off. But either way, be curious to see if they're going to be able to follow that in the second game here. Like we said, in their last loss, they pulled that Brazil out. We thought, oh, they must be awake and ready to go. But as always, something can definitely change with each subject here. Sitting through the first 30 seconds here, no one's really established any sense of dominance yet. Violent Panda's going to take another good shot on net, but Fruity, I was about to call him Fruity Panda for some reason. He's going to be able to save that one right away. Here's K-Dop. K-Dop's going to take that one back, try to pass it to Panda, but interrupted. And a bike. He's going to see if he can get a shot on net. Taken away here. Now it's Fruity. Fruity off to the center. I got a backboard. Taken away by Violent Panda. Now he's with the ball. Turbo Pulsa. He's going to change that 50-50. Ooh, Pika so tried to get enough of a touch on it, but he couldn't do so. And first goal goes off to Gale Force.
It's really close. That's a heck of a dunk, though, by Turbo. I guess it's not really a dunk so much as it is just trying to keep the pressure up, and it's a tough break for the Copenhagen Flames because they thought they were going to have a chance to clear there, and it's just too long to rotate back. They have that, as we said, the tendency to send the house on offense.
For sure. Both teams really show that sense of just, you really just want to bring everybody in and the kitchen sink with you. Gale Force is not afraid to do that at any point in time, is for sure. Turbo Pulsa is going to take that one, put it toward midfield, and give it to an opportunity for Violent Panda. Now off of the corner here. Beogans now with the ball, giving that to Fruity. Just trying to push it upfield right now. Nothing too serious right now with the possession, though. Of course, as I say that, a shot on net comes here. Just enough of a save here to put that one out. Now coming up here. Turbo Pulsa gets the pinch
you're kidding.
Feels bad, man. The pinch worked after all, and that's going to put him up to.
Yeah, really nice challenge from Turbo Pulsa. A brilliant read on that, trying to get that dribble going up the sidewall. It just says, oh, yeah, no problem. I've seen that happen a dozen times. Just goes and sits right on top of it. And, of course, Copenhagen playing a little bit too far forward, not respecting that challenge. And once again, the net wide open.
Reading pitches is one of those little arts of Rocket League that once you learn, it's phenomenal. But, of course, it feels like a little bit of deja vu right now because this second game kind of looks like the first where they're striking right back. That is Copenhagen Flames with another shot on net. Put them up, have a goal difference of 1 now. And
there's the flip side of the coin. They get really aggressive off that kickoff, send 3 people all spreading out. They grab that side boost, they cheat up. Ooh. And there we go, it comes back the other way. K-Dop this time around to find the net. It's 3-1 Gale Force Esports. This one, they don't do quite as good a job as killing the ball in the middle of the field. And K-Dop just sits right on it, and that is a tough save to make if you're Bika, because you've got so much of the net to think about covering.
Just a side note here to notice the name tags that each player's got. You have 2 people with Universal Open and one of them with the World Champion. Must be nice to have some really sweet tags like that, but either way, speaking of tags, not really applicable to this situation here, but Fruity is going to be able to take advantage of this one here with a great pass from Rabeo again.
Tough play for K-Dop because he didn't have a lot of boost to work with. He started heading out into that corner and then said, hang on a minute, I'm the last guy left. And he just had to turn around immediately and try and make a play with not a lot to work with in the tank.
Sometimes you're thrown into a bad position. And what you make out of it sometimes is not the easiest trick in the book. As we got Becky here contesting that. Now out to Fruity. Hits that directly at Violent Panda, which is trying to exchange this with Turbo here. He's going to do so. It's Turbo Pulsa. Or I should say K-Dop, rather. Goodness gracious. I apparently can't read names right now. Violent Panda. Right back up to Bike. Beogan's going to hit that one on the back wall. Violent Panda's going to take a shot on net.
Ooh, what a shot.
Up with Turbo Pulsa. Another good shot from Turbo Pulsa. Has a tendency to pull that every once in a while. And that's going to be a 2-goal deficit once again.
There's a little bit of that utilization of space out into the midfield. It'd be really easy for K-Dop to just roll that one around the back wall, try and look for a pass across to the opposite side of the net. Instead says, let me get behind it, push it out towards the top of the box. Turbo Pulsar right there for it.
2 minutes left to go with a 2-goal deficit. We'll see what he'll be able to follow up here, as Copenhagen Flames has played fairly decent so far, but so far the offensive execution right now from Gale Force has certainly shown to be prominent. Fruity shot on net, but a good save from K-Dop, although I think Turbo Pulsar was there in time as well. And now K-Dop's opportunity here with the ball. He's going to throw that one off into the corner. Coming off here is Fruity, directly back at Turbo Pulsar here. Pressure right now from Gale Force is trying to keep this on Copenhagen's side. Doing so successfully here. Last 25 seconds we've set over on their end. Opportunity could potentially be there. That ball is straight up in toward the center. That second touch helped out, as otherwise Violent Panda had the opportunity. Now off the back wall, Fruity. Gonna go with that one here. That ball is straight back toward the center. And once again here, we're starting to see some really, really good offensive flow right now from Gale Force. Just waiting for this opportunity to see if they're going to be able to put this one in the net.
Yeah, utilizing all that boost control in the field, utilizing all that space, being so quick out to the midfield. K-Dop really didn't have to do too much for this one, of course, because Violent Panda, what a recovery. Like, he just went for the challenge, got bumped, and said, oh, I can still get a touch out to midfield. Easy peasy.
Absolutely well done from Gale Force to just be able to keep that pressure up. I mean, if you saw their rotations, one thing that was amazing to me is that they just kept that pressure on, and they just kept snatching any kind of boost that they could find. And that helped out big time, as you finally saw it toward the end. Copenhagen Flames was just in a sentence of desperation right there. Sitting here now with 40 seconds left to go, a 3-goal deficit, now 4-goal deficit, as Violent Panda is going to put that one on the net. And just again, some really good offensive flow right now is coming out of Gale Force.
Big triple commit for Gale Force Esports, but it doesn't matter because nobody on Copenhagen Flames back on defense far enough to really go up and challenge that ball from an advantageous angle. They all were racing back to net, having to try and defend it, rotating in it. It's so difficult to play those long defensive clears.
Turbo Pulsar almost getting crafty with that one and reading that like a book, but he was just a couple pixels off. Now Beogan's off into the corner, seeing what he can pull with that one. Now Fruity, pass over to the middle. Looks like they're going to be able to execute that one.
Okay.
The good textbook play right there.
Yeah, it's got to feel good to at least get one back on the board. Of course, you're not going to really win game number 2 here, but it's credit enough to be able to score a goal against Gale Force Esports, let alone 3, and this one just well placed off the back wall, just out of reach.
Yeah, 3-goal deficit. It is, at least by probability terms, very unlikely that you'll be able to come back with this one, but sometimes throwing that extra goal on board can help you out, as that can maybe add a little bit extra momentum. Sometimes that highlight goal can really make the difference too. That ball's going to drop on net here hopefully soon.
You can
Violent
do it.
Panda just rather would make a highlight play. Everyone just bum rushes the ball toward the end. Not sure if they're trying to put it in or take it out, but either way, it didn't go in, so Gale Force is going to take that one as well.
Yeah, so another strong showing there from Gale Force. Not really much to add. Copenhagen Flames able to generate a little bit more offense here. 6 shots again from Baika, but look at the saves. 2, 4, 5 from Gale Force Esports. That's a fair few still able to find themselves around the back of the net, but not really able to break that wall of Gale Force. And, by the way, a little bit of an update for you guys. Stacks is giving me live updates of teams and results as they happen. Frontline, who of course just defeated Gale Force Esports in the previous round, in round 4 of Swiss, they have just swept Circa, and they are moving on into the playoffs, and Circa find themselves on the way out.
Yeah, Frontline has been playing fairly well so far today. I'm surprised to see their effort they put in so far, but that's a great thing to see, as of course coming up with RLCS, it's important to be able to try to put out your best effort here. But Turbo Pulsar, speaking of best efforts, going to come out with this one from a good play from Violent Panda to put that one toward the middle.
Yeah, and it all started, I think, there from Abogand out of the corner. He probably could have tried to manage that speed, or perhaps maybe air roll back a little bit right before he hit that ball, squared it up, and put it just a little bit too far out of reach for him, because that speed and aggression coming out of Gale Force out of the midfield right there, just enough to make it too difficult to follow up on. They got scored on for it.
Violent Panda Was trying to get crafty with that pass off of the backboard, but just a little too high. Now leaves it over here. A little scrunched up as Copenhagen Flames over on the far side. Offensive flow is not going to help him out too much there, as Violent Panda seeing if he can take the shot on net at an upper 90. And that pinch save right there, though, is going to save them off the end of it.
Ooh.
And, it looked like Fruity potentially, I couldn't tell if he side flipped or not, but that other way is going to put them up too.
Well, we'll watch it again. He did get put out a little bit too far, and of course going up that post right there. It's so difficult to manage how you flip off that corner, because it looked like Fruity wanted to, he wanted to jump first. And K-Dop scores off the kickoff.
Yeah, well done here. Let's just take a look at that again. And notice that this is not the first time this has happened this series. And they really just want to push it off the back wall, have the next player who is already actively cheating it is there and just ready to take that power shot from the redirected shot off of the wall, I suppose is the way I could put that.
Yeah, and that's a few times now that we've seen Gale Force Esports say, okay, you're rotating back into the net from one side. You have to think about all that space you have to cover, and they just go right behind them. That's 2 or 3 times we've seen them do that now.
One thing that you notice is that when you win the kickoff, especially like that, where you try to smack it off of that wall in that fashion, sometimes the other team can really freak out and not really be sure of what their rotation is supposed to be at that point. You know, there's going to be guys that off the kickoff that went for the kickoff rather, are like, I'm just going to go get a boost now. But oh my goodness, Violent Panda, that was beautiful. He just takes that one and just says, hi, this is me. Enjoy it.
And he had 100 boost too, going off that sidewall. Used just about 70 to go all the way, but I'm pretty sure he had it with only a 40 boost usage. Show brilliant boost control. Nice solid double tap, and the mechanics come through once again. How about the 1-2 touch? Violent Panda actually peeled out.
Sitting here, we're at 4-0. And a little over 3.5 minutes left to go right now. We're going to need some work here from Copenhagen if they're going to be able to take this one away. But a shot from K-Dop is going to bar down and nail that one in. And now 5-goal deficit. Now we're just kind of praying for a Brazil at this stage. Yeah,
Abigand in a super tough position to be on. He's beat to the ball. He's low on the ground. The ball is so high away. There's no way he can effectively challenge the ball. Basically, all he can do is rotate into net and hope that Gale Force misses or puts it right at him. And everybody knows that's not going to happen when they're shooting the ball.
Violent Panda gets a good flick over top of one player. He's able to take it over 2, but not 3. As Fruity's there to get the save on there, and Turbo Pulsa just a hair bit off, and now taking it away from Violent Panda is Fruity. Right back to Turbo Pulsa off the back wall, but they're going to back off of that one. And now Violent Panda taking it over top of 2 Copenhagen Flames opponents right now. And you can definitely tell that it seems like Copenhagen seems to be a little bit flustered right now after the pressure that Gale Force has put on so far this game.
Wow, what a touch here from Turbo Pulsa. 9 boost in the tank, and all he wanted to do, you can see Biker right there, he's like, I'm just going to deny him this midfield boost. And Turbo says, sure, take yourself out of position. Just pinches it right into the net.
The classic boost over ball scenario.
Boost over ball, baby.
All right, coming off here is K-Dop. He's not going to be able to get that one in time, so that's going to be Fruity. He's going to take that one and let that be. Now sitting back over at midfield is Turbo Pulsa, who's not really sure what he wants to do with that, so he's just going to say, K-Dop, please take this from me. Now off the back wall, Vika's going to take that one, and teamwork makes the dream work with Fruity. Violent Panda, I think was just trying to go for something there. I'm not quite sure what he was aiming for, but at this point, I think they're just looking for the highlight reel at that point. See what they could send off to Sports Center or send off to Rocket Dailies at this point.
Whoa, Turbo so close. The 3-man, they've triple committed. Will they at least capitalize? Yes, they will. Bika down into the center. Not much else beyond that one. So, not much to really talk about. Gale Force trying to style on them. And another bit of a live update here from Stacks. The Leftovers have swept Cytons in round 5.
Oh, wow. That's interesting to hear, but also cool to hear at the same time. Leftovers is going to continue to advance. So we'll be able to say hi to them later on here coming up. Now leaving out of here, we have Fruity. Or rather, I should say that take it from Turbo Pulsa. Now off to Violent Panda. He's at 50-50 here. That's going to leave it over to Baika. K-Dub goes and takes that away from him. K-Dub says Bayo again. Back to Violent Panda. They're stopped by Turbo Pulse. So right now, it's like these guys are just playing the most intense game of ping pong. As it just goes back and forth between each team right now. But it's not going to make too severe of a difference unless some goals start really getting processed right now from Copenhagen. And a shot on net. Almost the dream for the Brazil. But that isn't going to fall through. Now we're going to see what happens here as Violent Panda takes that off from the corner. Gives it off into the middle for Turbo Pulse, just a hair bit wide. Now coming out to Violent Panda. He gets a good clap down. That isn't going to fall through with him. Just Bayo again. Dish off to Baika. Leaving that here now is Turbo Pulse taken by Fruity. Through to Violent Panda. Coming up here, we have 30 seconds left. Right now, Gale Force is up. And up with a demanding fashion right now. So I think one thing we could definitely ask for sure is when we saw out of this game, what are some things that Copenhagen Flames really needs to work on if they want to be able to get into this next game?
Yeah, there's no way for them to win this series. This is what is this? This is game 3. So Gale Force have pretty much won the series. So I mean, Copenhagen Flames, they didn't do a bad job. Honestly, the biggest problem was the hardest thing to do against any team when you play Gale Force is manage your boost on your own half. The second thing was how aggressive they were on offense. It works in certain scenarios, and I think that's what we saw Gale Force Esports do. You got to see the difference between applying all of that pressure at the right time and just applying pressure. And I think that was the biggest difference between Gale Force and Copenhagen. The ability to timely and in the proper fashion apply pressure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think one of the things that, in addition to that I found out of it was that when Gale Force started throwing on, at least in the third game for sure, but of course you slowly started to notice this in games 1 and 2, that you see that when Gale Force is up and they continue to start pushing that pressure that they had beforehand. I mean, Copenhagen, they have a good drive. They would try to push that down as quickly as they could, but Gale Force just shut it down immediately. And with that, they just really pushed for control there. And I think that was a big thing that was on their side, is that from minute 1, they had Copenhagen in their palm of their hand saying, guys, that's cool that you're trying to attack us, but we already have possession of the ball. Yeah. And that's a big bonus that I think what Gale Force's play style is like, is that when they go and they face off against different opponents, they don't try to mess around with the ball. They're like, okay, we're going for a quality possession, and if they're trying to attack us with something that's going to be weak or just in general just try to pin one of us against the wall, it's not likely going to happen because we're trying to keep our shoulders broadened as well.
Yeah, and a big credit, of course, though. I mean, Copenhagen Flames, they played well in Game 1. They did do a fairly decent job keeping Gale Force out of the net in game number 1. Unfortunately, of course, as the series went on, the pressure started mounting and couldn't quite stand up to all that pressure being brought. But it's been a long, steady grind for the Copenhagen Flames crew, and I'm curious to see how they do this weekend in the play-ins. And of course, a little bit more of an update, that match between Leftovers and Cytons, whether or not Leftovers moves into the playoffs, I should be specific, is pending a bit of results. That Excel matchup in round 5 really matters. The Leftovers finish at 76.47% for the win ratio, and not quite there. All British except Flarkey won. They're 72.22%. And Method and Excel are both 85.71 and 92.31% respectively, without any games being reported in their round 5. So there's a lot of leeway here for whether or not the Leftovers move on. The worst that Excel can do if they get 0-5 is 75%, which would put the Leftovers in.
And also had a bad argument in their spreadsheet.
Yes, that too. But Gale Force is definitely
I had to, at least once. I'm sorry.
Gale Force is definitely in, though, at 82%, 82.35%, give or take a little bit. So they're definitely in. Not exactly official, but hard to say they're not with how well they performed. They didn't drop a game, basically, until Frontline. And then, basically, everything is hinging on that Method versus Excel matchup. And unfortunately, it looks like the Leftovers are out, but enough with the live updates, enough with my ugly mugs. Fernaday and Stacks, I think he's that way, are going to be the ones to take you through the playoffs of today's European Rocket Swiss Super Royale. So, I thankfully will be able to focus completely on running the overlays properly, which is going to be great. So, when we come back, it's going to be the playoffs. We'll be, I believe, starting in the semifinals of that. So, more coming up on Rocket League Central.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this Rocket Swiss Royale. It's been a fun time so far here, as we just saw Gale Force Esports rock at it against Copenhagen Flames. And now with me on the casting booth is someone you may recognize, I sometimes recognize, and quite frankly, he's just an icon, formerly known as the radio host of Rocket League, but now he's just Stacks.
Yeah,
How's
just
it going,
Stacks. Man? Just Stacks. It's going great, man. This has been a lot of fun seeing some of the best teams in Europe kind of battle for that last chance at getting a good quality placement in that top 128 coming up this weekend. And it's all come down to this now with our final four teams. And boy, do we have an exciting one coming up here.
Yeah, for sure. Coming up here, we're going to have Frontline facing off against Excel. And if you guys, just a quick reminder, if you just tuned in right now, we saw Frontline earlier, who was able to actually take out Gale Force Esports earlier, which was rather impressive, getting their first loss for this tournament so far. So it'll be interesting to see how they come out and play against Excel in this matchup here.
Yeah, and the Frontline squad able to take out Gale Force already in this tournament. I mean, that's one of the matches that kind of created this big log jam of a bunch of teams right on 12 points, and this question of, okay, who's actually going to get through into the top four? And you had, a couple of teams on 15 and a whole slew of them on 12. Ultimately, here we are with these four teams, and boy, your guess is as good as mine for today on what we're going to see over these next few matches. And I really think on any given day, all four of these teams that are in these semifinals here, they could feasibly win this whole thing. It's going to be about who's better here tonight.
Yeah, and I agree. Right now, what I think, first of all, I just want to go through teams real quickly here for those of you that haven't quite seen yet. Frontline is composed of Farah, Bluey, and Chaussette, which I believe is the starting roster that we're seeing today. Excel is going to be Niels Cook, Census, and Pondex, with the sub being Mysterio there. That also is another solid lineup here that we've seen before. I'm kind of upset because I know Niels Cook and Pondex's team history has merged together in the past, and I can't remember what their former team name was. Does it ring off the top of your head for you? I got it. It's Kaunos. It's Kaunos.
Yes. Yeah, Dan Zizzle. And what's really interesting is, Pondex, when you really look at all the roster changes from everything we've seen between season 3 and season 4, all that's really happened is Pondex went and joined Kaunos, and Dan Zizzle went to be a sub, I believe, for the Leftovers.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
And so, I mean, you look at Niels Cook and Zensus staying together, and then adding Pondex to that team, they put some very strong results together, including here tonight. I mean, we saw them on this stream or on this channel just a week ago, just lay waste to everybody in Gfinity. And that's that Friday showcase where when you pull off a win there on that Friday Gfinity, you've earned it. And Excel certainly did.
Yeah, as we've always seen on the EU side of things, whenever it came down to Friday, it was always really cool to see a lot of the talent come in for that Gfinity. And like you said, I mean, if you go in and you steamroll your opponents in such a fashion that they did, I'm just going to honestly say I'm just going to respect it. And going forward here, Frontline, off of that momentum here with a lot of their great victories that they've had today, and to see what they're going to now do against Excel, which, again, going off of really good momentum over the last few days. Let's see what happens here for sure, as we're just waiting on teams to be able to get into the lobby, be able to rock and roll here, and see what happens out of there for sure. But I think the next thing here coming up, of course, just to pull off as a side note here, our other semifinal is also underway right now, which is Method facing off against Gale Force Esports, which, as we just saw, Gale Force played fairly dominant in that last matchup there. I mean, taking the last game 6-1, and the one was just a triple commit that came out of nowhere. I mean, Copenhagen didn't play bad by any means. It was just Gale Force played a really phenomenal game when it came down to especially games 2 and 3.
Yeah, and of course it's a rematch of sorts from what we saw from the NBC tournament as well, the Universal Open, and you get to see again what I finally get to say is the best twos player in the world in KDOP, and now I finally have the data to back it up as he's done it. I mean, he was dominant with Fairy Peak for several months, and then of course winning the Universal Open alongside Violent Panda. You know, there's not just seeding on the line, by the way, for this whole tournament. You know, there is a prize pool attached to this. So not just all coming out and putting on like a Harlem Globetrotters-esque charity showcase. There's a $150 prize pool plus donations, and we have had some roll in. You can find the donation link down at the bottom just below the stream. Basically, whatever we are able to put together for these players, both for this European Swiss Royale and also the North American one coming up, that's basically going to be the prize pool. It's not like we're going to take anything off the top and hand them just pennies on the dollar. Whatever we're able to raise for the players, that goes to them. That kind of adds to the excitement a little bit because, you know, the players, I don't think they really even know exactly how much they're playing for, but certainly the team that comes out on top of all of this is going to do themselves a lot of favors coming this Sunday.
Yeah, and, you know, one thing that's also something to add to it, too, is that do you guys remember Kevin? For some of you guys that have been following Rocket League Central for a really long time, you make Kevin happy by putting in donations and just adding a couple extra dollars here to the prize pool. But it is totally to your consent. It's whatever that you would like to do. It's by your means, not ours. And it's your money, not ours. I guess I was going to go somewhere with that. Not really sure where I was going to walk with it, but sometimes that's half of my jokes in a nutshell. But either way, I think that's it'll be very interesting to see because, I mean, just remember that now as we go into this system here that, you know, one thing I didn't even look at earlier is I didn't even really look in the bracket yet. And Stacks, maybe you can verify this for me, what Method's performance has been so far in this tournament. That was another one that was like, wait a minute, how are they doing?
Yeah, Method was a team that actually went 5-0. They did not drop any matches. They barely dropped any games, actually, if I remember correctly, and I'm sure I'll be corrected very quickly if I'm wrong. They only dropped a few games. I think they were on they had dropped maybe 2 games coming into the last round, and they went 5 games for their win over Excel, I believe it was, in the last round. So Method, a team that they faced all comers, they took them out. They didn't have a cupcake path, to say the least, to get through. They had to face some of that top competition, and that's kind of the nature of Swiss tournaments. I know explaining it after the fact is a little silly, but you know, in a Swiss tournament, the undefeated teams generally get paired up against each other. So to make an undefeated run through a Swiss bracket, it's kind of like a single elimination tournament in that as the tournament rolls on, the competition gets much, much tougher. And sure enough, they do go 5-0 and they do get that 3-2 win over Excel in the last round. That guaranteed them a spot in the top 2, and they ultimately end up as the number 1 seed.
Yeah, and just to touch on that, I know that you said like toward the end we shouldn't really touch on it, but you know, it's interesting because to me it's kind of cool to see how Swiss brackets work in that, like you said, the big dogs face against the big dogs. Just kind of put it in a simple format is that if a team's undefeated, another team's undefeated, they're going to face off against each other. So what's cool is you sometimes get this really high sense of competition between one another here. One team has been steamrolling everybody, and then the other team from the other side of the bracket steamrolling everybody. So then you're like, oh, hey, let's face off against each other early on. But again, that's in the pool play section, so they're not getting called right off the bat. So that'll be really cool to see what comes out of it for sure. So again, matchup coming up here, Frontline facing off against Excel here. And I think it's going to be interesting to see. We do have a moment or two, so why don't we go ahead and just play predictions here for a minute? So we got Frontline facing off against Excel. Stacks, you go first. What's your prediction? How many games?
Excel. I have a hard time betting against Excel, even though they do come in on a 12-point run here. They are the underdog by the seedings. The way they've played over the past couple of weeks, they look like a team that wants to make a hard run at RLCS. I got them in 4.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to see out of here, I'm going to base this off of the fact that we've seen Frontline play really well against Gale Force, but you know what? Just what we saw from Excel, at least on Friday. I'm not too sure what has been going on before that point, but I'm going to say I'm going to take it 4 games as well, and I'm going to give it to Excel.
All right, so there it is. Both of us agree. Excel are the favorites despite being the underdog on the bracket, and now we get to play a best of 5 to settle it once and for all. This one going back into the frontline zone, and Farah is going to have that. It's not maybe the best clear, but it does get by Niels Cook. Bluey tried to take out Zensus. He cannot, and Zensus will have all day to set up here and blow right by Chaussette. He'll drop it off to Pondex, and the shot just ends up wide. It really left Pondex's car there, and he wasn't able to complete the play. As a result, the counterattack from Farah ends up just wide, and we've seen a rapid pace to start things off here in game 1.
Yeah, for sure. Both teams are coming out and they mean business, and that's a good thing to see out of both sides so far, showing that this is going to be a good competitive matchup. But again, first minute, things can change, but I hope that that's an inclination of what we're about to be seeing here from the rest of this matchup.
Zensus looking for Niels Cook all the way downfield, but he's not going to connect here. Bluey comes up empty on the back wall. That leaves Farah in an awkward position. Don't normally see that. Bluey will get one downfield this time. Sure-handed on the clearance, but it has been awkward at times for Frontline. Not here, though, as Chaussette able to get the opening goal here in game 1.
Yeah, Chaussette nails it. Solid angle right there, but Farah coming in and beating 2 opponents right there was the huge factor that came into play. Had he not come in another quarter of a second or probably even a 1/10 of a second, depending on the situation, had he not come in and gotten that pass off the back wall, that wouldn't have left that opportunity for Chaussette. So a good play overall to help out the team.
So Pondex will try to get this started again, formerly from Pentasports. Or Pentasport, rather, is Chaussette going to bring this all the way around the world by himself. And Zensus will have this downfield. It's trouble. Pondex not able to get that over Farah. Still a loose ball in front. Pondex can't get around on this, and Farah will not have it away. Niels Cook there with a very aggressive challenge. We're seeing both teams really pushing forward quite a bit, and, well, the opposite sides having to dedicate a lot to defense as a result. Farah's going to have this off the backboard, and we'll see if Excel can keep the pressure on.
Yeah, right now, one thing that I've noticed that's kind of an interesting thing that I'd like to see and point out right now to see if it's going to come out in the future is that I noticed that Zensus has been playing a really big, I almost want to call it striker role, because I've seen him stay up front more often than his other teammates, but right now, for a good example, he is coming back on defense, but it is interesting so that he keeps that opponent, or excuse me, rather, that he stays up there to be able to help the team out. So it'll be interesting to see what develops out of that.
Well, it's kind of a free run into the zone here from Frontline, as they really had all 3 up on the attack. A double commit has kind of cost them, though. They are able to scramble back and prevent any quality opportunity from Excel. Both teams only have the 2 shots, make it 3 now for Frontline, as Chaussette's second attempt is sent away. And now Chaussette will lob another one in for Farah, and he'll score right over a defender to make it 2-0.
Yeah, nicely done here. Farah, first of all, wins that 50-50 exchange, and Chaussette, acknowledging that Farah was still in the play, just threw that straight off of the wall so that he would be able to set his teammate up in the center, and Farah just coming in as quick as he could and taking that shot opportunity there. Now, they're sitting at that 2-goal advantage, and let's see if there's going to be a response back right now from Excel.
Well, it's Bluey. He'll drop another one in. This time it looked like over Niels Cook, and the lead continues to grow for Frontline as they are running away with it late in game 1.
Yeah, I think that they were expecting Ponex to go for it, but once he jumped off of the wall, it looks like he just didn't have the position that he was hoping for, so he ended up missing it. So then that just left the opportunity for Bluey to come in and just take that extra shot on net.
So 1:40 and counting to go here in game one. Chaussette gets the bump on Zenses, but Bluey can't score on what turned into an open net, though at a difficult angle. Now Zenses, if they're going to have a chance to come back, Team Excel, they need to score in a hurry, almost on this opportunity or bust, as Niels Cook can't get up for this, and Pondex will have to win the race to his own boost. Problem is that gives Bluey possession, and he almost dropped one down under the crossbar. You can tell now Sfernade Frontline have all that confidence, and they're going for those highlight reel plays. They haven't really been challenged except here by Excel, but it feels like it's too little too late with only a minute to go.
And that's kind of a scary thing, because if you're that confident right off the bat, but there's still that minute and a half left to go, that's really showing to me that there's a side of them that's like, man, they're really not giving us the pressure that we were hoping for, which gives them that confidence to go out and make those highlight plays. I mean, if you're up 3 goals, that minute and a half stands, unless that other team is just throwing shot after shot after shot on them, and it's not going to follow through. But sure enough, Ponex is going to nail that one through on his own accord. Nicely done.
Yeah, Pondex realizing that he had plenty of time and space to work with. At least it gives Excel a little bit of hope here. We've seen games, even at this level, turn on their head very quickly. And we've seen teams go from the penthouse to the outhouse in less time than this. Chaussette, though, to the ceiling, and that's going to be set away by Zenses. If they're going to have a chance, it's got to be right now. If they are going to lead a comeback charge, they need a goal really yesterday, as Zenses clears this out, but not past the center line. Chaussette keeps it into the final countdown, and that should just about do it here in game one. Only 3 seconds left. They will not get downfield in time, and finally, this ball will touch down, we think, and when it does, Frontline will have a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, and I think that was a tale of Frontline really playing it out here. When we talked about it a second ago, that first minute was really good because you saw both teams really compete with each other, and that was a really cool thing that you saw right off the bat. But then I would probably say about second minute in, 2.5 minutes through, then that's when you started seeing Frontline come in and saying, okay, now we have a pretty dominant side of possession on this side. And once they started building that momentum, Excel just couldn't do anything to fight back with it. So that left the opportunity for Frontline to just kind of take that game away there. It wasn't in a super dominating fashion. 2 goals isn't necessarily a ridiculous amount, but you could definitely tell on the possessive side of things that Frontline really showed to be a fierce contender there.
Yeah, all 3 members of Frontline getting on the scoreboard, and very few zeros in the grand scheme of things in a game where there weren't that many offensive opportunities. Everybody found a way to get involved, and now here we are with Frontline in front, 1-0, and, well, the road ahead for Excel is pretty clear. You want to win here, otherwise you risk going to, as Jorby would say, the elimination station. 5 minutes on the clock here in game number 2, and we are underway. It's Pondex trying to get the break started early for Excel. Not really able to, so Zensus will have to lead the reset attempt, and that's not going to work out either. It's a big clear downfield right at Pondex, and that turns out to be the first shot for Frontline. They may have a second one brewing, but Zensus will have the clear. Niels Cook even further, and it's Zensus that comes up with this. It looked like they were waiting for either Pondex or Niels Cook, and instead it's Zensus that breaks through.
I got to say right here, I got to give Zensus some props for taking that shot all the way to the other side of the net, as everyone else was focused over on that side, because I don't think they were expecting Niels Cook to give that kind of pass. It went directly toward him, and then he was able to put that one hard off the back wall, and that's a really good type of counterattack that you can take where the defense is not even set up in their rotation yet, and so good kudos on them for making a really good play out of that.
A testament to how important information is as a defender. Of course, the offensive team has all the information. They know who's taking the shot. The defensive team then has to react, and when the shot's coming in that hard from Zensus, not a chance to save it, as you just saw. Here's Niels Cook to float one in. That was just wide, and Chaussette will have it away. He found Bluey, and Pondex has to scramble back for the save. They're not really in a good defensive position, RXL. Now Pondex will have this downfield. They dodge a bullet as they really had a double commit in front of the net. They do hold a 1-0 lead, though. You can't really argue with the results.
Yeah, for sure. As we're sitting through that first minute and a half, it seems like this has so far been a different side of Excel that we've seen. Their offensive counterattacks have proven to be very deadly, as Zenzus is going to nail the next one on board here. And another situation where they went for the counterattack, they launched it downfield, and then they just kept at it. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at it, and then that left the opportunity for Zenzus to take another shot on net. And seeing here, with that two-goal lead now, rather, we'll see if they're going to be able to maintain it.
Niels Cook now not able to get another one in front. So they'll have to be content with at least a 2-goal lead for now. It's going to get slimmed down, though. Chaussette taking advantage of an awkward situation there for Zensus. Looked like maybe he was waiting for boost.
Actually, that's kind of funny. He was waiting for the boost to spawn in, so he stayed on the pad, but then Chaussette tried to come in and just attack him from the corner. So Zensus tried to jump to dodge it, and when he jumped, he kind of goofed up where he was at, so he couldn't just go directly back to the net. So that kind of goofed up their rotations there, and so that's why that goal was able to come through as it did.
Farah, big drive, looking to tie the game, but it's Zensus that has the save. Now Pondex, that's awkward. He couldn't catch up with the shot, or the centering attempt rather, and Chaussette with his second has tied it.
Farah just going right up top there and just taking the pass right over onto the back wall. And unfortunately, I don't quite call it. I think that was Pondex there that went up in the air to try to get that off the backboard in order to stop the play. But once he was out, teammate wasn't there to help him out, so that's going to hurt him. Now this game is tied right back up.
Here's Zensus, greeted rather rudely by Farah. Now Niels Cook will try to leave one for Pondex. Mission accomplished. And now Bluey in a tough spot. Niels Cook just jams that ball right up against him. But Farah is there to bail him out. And downfield this goes. And very similar to how Excel scored earlier, we saw kind of that 3-man offense. It's going to work out in the end as Pondex gets downfield and somehow taps this in at the end.
Yeah, noticing that they thought that they had the opportunity there at hand, they just went and ran away with it. Pondex just punished the mistake of all three players going up there from frontline. So for their read, well done. But at the same time, though, that 50-50 that initially started it was rather impressive because it was a double tap that came onto it, and he held the position and was able to take that one in his favor, which helped create that play.
Lobbed all the way to the corner now as frontline try to use that corner as a fourth teammate. Doesn't work out, though. It's coming back the other way. Double commit between Bluey and Chaussette. An empty net that Zensus absolutely has to convert. He hasn't, and Farah will clear this away. They'll breathe a big sigh of relief. They may even tie this game on this exchange as Niels Cook kicks that out to the middle. Chaussette was waiting but couldn't quite catch up. Boy, both teams really playing with fire here for much of these, really the first game and a half. Now it's Farah.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see how that follows through here. As right now, I think one of the things to be scared of is that frontline has go in and thrown everything at them, but at the same time, that's also hurt them on the other side. As Zensus, another goal in his repertoire there. Absolutely well done from him, as that one was a solo contender.
Yeah, Zensus, he'll make up for missing what really should have been converted not too long ago. He does get his third goal. That completes the hat trick. He's also got 4 saves, so I'll go for another couple assists here. You get the trifecta, as Pondex will set one up for Niels Cook. And Chaussette just popping one away. And right now, frontline, they're having trouble getting out of their own zone here. Somebody's got to take this ball. Finally, it's Farah and Zensus. Who else is there to greet him? And really, this has been a much different second game for Team Excel. They are able to get out of the zone with a lot more efficiency than last game. And you're seeing the shot count is there as well. It really wasn't in game number 1, but they've peppered that net with 8 shots. And of course, 4 of them have found the net. Niels Cook just trying to stall for time a little bit. They do seem a little stagnant here offensively, but it hasn't hurt them because Frontline have been, well, equally ineffective. And it's going to result in a goal. It's Pondex. And who gets the assist? It's Zensus.
I got to give credit over to Zensus right now. When you're on fire and your team recognizes that, it's one of the greatest things to see in any kind of sport by any means, because it's always such a cool thing to see that one of your teammates is just like, man, I'm able to score, I'm able to pass, and I'm able to play defense. And I'm just on a consistent roll, and just either give me the ball and I'll make something work out of it, or give me the ball and I'll score, or give me the ball and I'll be a brick wall. One of those three things as so far shown here from Zensos. But now sitting with 15 seconds left, 3-goal deficit. And this is quite the inverse story that we saw from the first game for sure.
Yeah, the only drama is, will Zensus get the trifecta? And apparently he will not. He will sit on 3 goals, 4 saves, and only 2 assists, as that one finds the net at the end. A little razzle-dazzle at the end that means very little in the grand scheme of things, but Frontline will take it.
Oh my goodness. I thought he was on the ground. That's why I was like, this can't be as cool. All of a sudden you see Bluey just come up and just take this little love tap at the end, like as if he was just coming off for all the style. And then there was just like the final note of the orchestrated play. And I guess if it works, it works. Maybe that'll carry some momentum into the next game for sure. But let's see what happens here. Coming out of this first game, we have 9 shots versus looks like 10 shots. So fairly even on that offensive end. But it's surprising to me that I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like the stats don't speak as much justification as they should for Zensus's play here in this game for sure.
Yeah, and it looked like he really could have had another pair of goals, too, the way he played. Of course, that last goal at the end, we know Achieves was excited about it. We could hear him as he's pressing all the buttons for us behind the scenes. Can only imagine what Dazrin would have thought as well. Some guys you may see if you hang around for the North American Swiss Royale as well, coming up a little bit later this evening. But now we've got business to take care of here, Svernaday. 1-1 between Excel and Frontline, and 2 games that were so dramatically different from each other. We saw Frontline really set the tone in game 1. Excel came back out in game 2 and really punched Frontline in the mouth. It didn't seem like Frontline were really able to recover until it was too late. And now this third game here means a whole lot. The winner is on match point. The loser has to win 2 if they want to stay alive.
Yeah, and this will be interesting to see what comes out of this development. Like you said, and this is also kind of one of those benefits that I like to see about series and not just one game, is that you'll see situations like that where one team will play phenomenal, the next game another team will play absolutely phenomenal, and it's really cool to see how that develops sometimes here, especially in Rocket League. That 5 minutes can make a phenomenal difference to it.
We do know that Method is out to a 1-0 lead over Gale Force Esports. As we get any other updates, we will certainly pass those along. By the way, Zetz is getting the assist on that kickoff goal. He's probably wondering, where was that just a moment ago? Would have been the rare case where you have someone with a hat trick, a savior, and playmaker all in the same game. Here's
You
Bluey,
literally
long drive down
the
field.
stat line.
Yes, exactly. It's around in front here. What a pass and a better finish by Bluey, hanging around in the right place at the right time.
Bluey's just like, oh, look, a ball. Like, my goodness, this is a great redirected shot to throw that right back down onto the net and tie the game back up here. Just give props to Bluey. It was a great shot as he was able to react to that just in the nick of time and be able to put his car right onto the ball.
Shaw set now, right down the middle. Bluey with the redirect, and he needed to, as Census did have the save. Now to be Pondex. Oh, he's rolled that on target. That's a great adjustment, but ultimately all for naught, as the ball is coming right back into the Excel zone. And Census isn't going to be able to catch up with this. Pondex, that may have gone off of him, and Farah's going to get credit.
All right, so feels bad, man. Farah just takes a shot a hair bit wide, and Pondex thought that it was going in, so he takes a dive at it. And out of the amount of angles that could come off of Pondex right there, that was the one that was chosen to go in. And unfortunately, that's going to be counted as an own goal, but it's quite the most, or one of the most incidental own goals that I've seen.
Well, Farah involved in the defensive stand here for Frontline. As we resume now into the second minute, Farah got the bump on Zenses. It'll work out in the end. Chaussette gets credit, but give a big assist to Farah here. Just a running riot in front of the net.
Goodness gracious. He demos one, kicks out the other one, so all Chaussette has to do is just slap it at one opponent, and if he didn't clear that out strongly, which he didn't, then that was just going to be a rebound for the next guy to come in. And give props to Farah. He was able to come in and be just an absolute powerhouse and just take 2 out of 3 people out.
3.5 to go with a 3-1 lead for Frontline. No game so far has been like the previous game. This time it's Frontline pouring on all the offense. But 3 minutes, certainly an eternity and then some in Rocket League. It's an opportunity here for Zenses, but Bluey, great read. We see so many times for today that pass off the side always turns into a turnover. That time, Bluey, good heads-up play coming out and challenging that.
Yeah, I agree. Right now, what we've seen is that there was 2 goals that came in the first game that were played off of the wall, and I think people are starting to show that they're confident in that situation, but just like anybody else, they can read it, understand what just happened, and if they're able to learn from their mistakes, they'll be okay, and that's what we've seen so far.
Pondex to send this one down and around. He did win the challenge. Unfortunately for him, that found Chaussette. Zenses can try to keep this alive, and at least he has. Pondex plays that even deeper into the zone, but that's bombed away by Bluey. Chaussette's down there as well, and a better save by Zenses. They deserve this defensive stand, and they'll get it. They won't get the counterattack so quickly, though. Zenses will try, but he's pushed it wide.
Goodness gracious, just give respect to Zenses right there. He was... I may just want to save this replay just so I can go back and see how far that ball was in the net, because my goodness, that man could not have waited another millisecond before that one was going into the net. So great save from him to be able to keep that goal deficit within 2. And let's see if we're going to be able to try to narrow it down here as we're sitting in these last 2 minutes.
Zenses now going to race back, and wisely so, because he may be needed here. Instead, it's Pondex. He'll send this away. Now Chaussette looking for Bluey, perhaps. Instead, the shot actually found its way to Niels Cook, and it'll be Niels Cook who comes out for this. He can't win the challenge, though. It looked like all 3 members of Excel were ahead. In fact, there was one back. That was very awkward for Excel. You know they're chasing the game here, but maybe it's still a little too early to start panicking.
Yeah, again, there's a minute left. There's still time that can come in. Just like that, Zenzus back on the board again with another goal as he's going to take that one away. Now within 1 goal in a minute left. Stacks, this is still definitely possible for them to tie this game back up.
Well, we've got all the drama here, slightly less drama in the other semifinal. Method out to a 2-0 series lead over Gale Force Esports. Again, best of 5s here in the semifinals and in the grand final as well. So if that one goes final, we will certainly let you know as this goes into the zone for Frontline. And Bluey going to steal some more boost out of the Excel end. We'll see if it matters, though. Niels Cook has enough to challenge this. So does Zenses. But all he can do is get this to the corner, and that's going to be bombed away by Farah yet again. Pondex actually ran into the inside post, and that's going to slow him down in time. Not really on Excel's side at all. They can't afford to waste even a second at this point. They need to get downfield with only 30 to go. This is a good chance to do so. Zenses wins 1 challenge. Needs to get by Chaussette. And as we've seen so often, easier said than done. Chaussette, strong defender, strong attacker. There aren't many holes in Chaussette's game. He's not going to get a chance to convert here as it goes back downfield with only 15 seconds. Niels Cook to center. That's over Pondex, and that may be the last chance.
Yeah, as this flies back down to Bluey, who almost was able to put an extra little bit of insurance on that one. There is still an opportunity for a counterattack. 2 players are still there, but Farah still doesn't want anything to happen with that ball. And now off to Pondex is going to take that one over. Let's see what he can do with that one.
Well, we've seen teams do a lot worse trying to get that last-second goal, but it doesn't work out for Excel. Frontline hangs on, and now we go to a 4th game with Excel, a team that has been as hot as any team in Europe of late, facing elimination now against a frontline team that has certainly brought it here in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting. Like you said a little bit earlier in this game, Stacks, how Frontline and Excel have not had a consistent game yet. We haven't seen Frontline just have this overly dominant sense in these last few games. But at the same time, though, we also saw the same story from Excel. They're putting up this fight against Frontline whenever they're leading. And when Excel took that last game, we thought, well, maybe this is a different story to them. But again, we saw this situation where Zensus did play fairly defensively. He still had the 4 saves he had from the last game. Ponex contributing his 2 here, but it just didn't seem like he was there on the offensive end as much. But that's not necessarily saying that, you know, he is supposed to be the entire backbone of the team or anything. I think it just comes down to the fact that going into this next game here, if they're not going to be able to play with that insane amount of intensity that they did the previous game, then that's going to hurt them. And I think Frontline is going to end up taking this, even though I predicted Excel.
Right. We both took Excel. We both took them in 4 games. This series may in fact end in 4 games, but going the other way if Frontline takes this game. And they've got a great opportunity off the kickoff, and it's Bluey that scores off the mistake.
Well, that's setting the pace right off the bat as Chaussette was able to just get in there just barely and take that one off into the corner with a pretty fortunate bounce, I can safely say, off of the wall to put that one dead center and give that opportunity for Bluey right there. Well done, and giving them that first goal lead in the first 5 seconds of the game is always going to be a helpful thing down the road.
Well, Bluey going to hang around here, get another few touches. How does he have this much boost? Bluey looked like he used about 300 boosts to keep that ball afloat. Doesn't get rewarded with either a goal or an assist, but they may get one here. Farah's waiting, and that's going to be popped away by Zensus. But you saw that double commit from Excel. That may still come back to haunt them as Pondex will dribble this out, and that's exactly what Excel needed. They needed some time out of their own zone and really with just one person going after the ball. It's cleared away by Chaussette. And now Zensus needs to get rid of this, and he does somehow. Farah's there to challenge, but that's really well done by Zensus. And you get the sense that this Excel team, there's a little bit of hero ball involved in this defensive stand, but they're doing just enough, and the individual players are stepping up when they're needed. Farah's missed one high over the crossbar, though, and Niels Cook, well, he can't get to this. They may still get a goal yet. Frontline denied by Zensus. Boy, the pressure is certainly on, though. No shots on yet for Team Excel. It has been all Frontline for the first 90 seconds.
Yeah, Frontline right now is just trying to play that game where they're trying to starve their opponent of boost and keep that away. And, oh, that's unfortunate right there, as that one nails barred down right back at, looks like Niels Cook there, and goes right into the net. That's always an unfortunate thing when that happens, and you're the player that happens to. So I got to feel bad for Niels Cook right there.
You talk about the offensive pressure. The shot accuracy hasn't actually been all that great for Frontline. 5 shots, no saves from Team Excel, 2 goals. You do the math. This is Bluey now in the corner, and he's going to lose possession. This is a chance for Excel. It's not like they've played poorly. They have been outmatched by Frontline, you have to think, for the first, well, really for most of these 4 games. That's why they have the series lead. But there's still that thought, I think, Svernaday, that Excel, if they can get a little burst of momentum here, they can really make a run at this. Problem is their comeback charges are coming a little bit late in every game so far, and they just run out of time as Pondex is not going to get a good pass off here, and Chaussette will take it away.
Right now, what has been interesting to see is that, like you said before, the amount of shots that's been thrown on by Frontline has been kind of surprising, only wielding 2 goals out of it, because you just notice them consistently hit the post or hit the backboard or just hit somewhere in the close region of the goal itself. And finally noticing it, I was just about to touch on that, how Frontline has been playing super aggressive, and it's really helped out. But if they can just punish that mistake and go for it and capitalize on those over-aggressive tactics, they're going to be able to shoot some goals out of this one for sure. And sure enough, just like that last one, that was a testament to the example. So we'll see if Frontline will back off and see if they'll just try to be content with that one goal, if we're going to see what they can do there, as Pondex makes sure I don't even know how I want to properly put this, because Zenzus, first of all, gets this really sick pinch. Pondex says, I read you like a book, like I read Elon Musk biographies, and that was absolutely phenomenal to see what Pondex put there. Ties the game up and hopefully puts in a little bit of momentum for the team.
Pondex, sponsored by SpaceX, confirmed. Bluey's flying sky high. He goes over the defense, and lost in all of this, it's playmaker for Chaussette.
That's how you got to put it right there, though. When the other team comes in and they put on a good shot like that, and you come back and return it, it's, Stacks, I know that you and I are basketball guys. It's like when someone goes for that highlight dunk and then someone just goes off a fast break and then just scores this really easy layup because the other team's like, yeah, we did this cool thing. So I think it's going to be really cool to see now that Bluey kind of killed the momentum. Let's see if they're going to be able to now start building it back up, or if this is going to go off to Excel here.
Well, Excel need another goal. They had a chance here with the ball in front, but Farah is just going to pound one right down the middle, going back the other way. And they also got the demo. They got a couple of demos now, and that's really disrupted the offense of Excel. They are back in the zone, though. Chaussette will just skyrocket this away. We're down to 90 seconds. Niels Cook got that one over Chaussette. I think they had to back off a little bit, though, did Excel, as they expected Chaussette was going to have the touch. That's the respect you have to give at this level. Senses challenging Chaussette. They've been trying to win these challenges against Chaussette. He's certainly been tested defensively. He's come through for the most part. Bluey down the middle as Chaussette denied his fourth assist. Ferrer will pepper the backboard, though. And now Pondex. He's by one. Is he going to leave it for Niels Cook? No, he'll take it himself, and Bluey has the save. Now
yeah,
Bluey.
Well done on his part for sure.
That's Chaussette. Look out. He's looking for a goal of his own. Denied there by Pondex. Last ditch effort for Team Excel. Down to 40 seconds. They're down a game in this series. Bluey just about found the angle, but Niels Cook has the clear with 30 to go. Tick-tock goes the clock. They're on the right side of the field, but it's Farah. Oh, that's a double commit, though, with Bluey. Pondex going for this. They got Chaussette, but not the ball. Bluey to drop it down, and Zensis is there. Danger averted, but time still running out. Chaussette just wasting more time. Down to about 10 seconds. They need to keep this in. Pondex has. Bluey has given it back to Niels Cook. That's popped over Bluey, but nobody's there. Zensis there just at the end. They need to get this in front. That's step one, but Bluey's there to kill it, and Frontline go to the finals.
Yeah, and meeting them, just to give you guys an update, meeting them in the finals is going to be Method, who looks like, according to my bracket here, beat them in a 3-2 format, so taking them all the way to Game 5. So Method's able to take that one away. So now we've seen Frontline, who beat Gale Force, and Method, who beat Gale Force, come off and face against each other here. It ought to be pretty exciting to see what this matchup's going to hold for us, for sure.
Yeah, Method and Frontline. Of course, it went 4 games, exactly like we predicted it would for today. It is always a pleasure casting alongside you, because we just got that ESP. We know what's going to happen before it happens. We called it 4-game semifinal.
For the record, we definitely said Frontline was winning 2. So 4 games, Frontline, we didn't say Excel. Just clarifying that for you guys, just to make sure that you guys were aware of that too.
Exactly.
Don't look at the clip. Don't look at the VOD and confirm that for us. This is
somewhere on our screen here. So in the end, it is Method and Frontline. And, well, these players all very familiar with each other, of course. A lot, Magnus Betsonoris for Team Method. What more needs to be said? They're a team that's been around for a while now. You go back to the aeriality, the team secrecy, everything that they've had to deal with over the past several months, still hanging around. They've certainly found a reliable home in Method, and they are a team that's poised to make a run at the RLCS, and a strong result here, well, going to give them a higher seed and certainly an easier path should the seedings hold.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what is a big bonus about playing today in this Rocket Royale, is that you get that little extra benefit of boosting your seed rating, if that's a way I could put that, a little bit higher going into this into RLCS. But in addition to it, like we said before, also a small prize pool that's going to be able to help out other players. I mean, it's a little bit of extra money for you in your pocket. That's never an issue when it comes down to these situations here. But just real quickly before we take a break and move on to get ready here for the finals, I think safe to say that Frontline played very well. I was glad to see that they executed the way that they did in the last 2 games, especially. And props to Excel, though. I thought that for sure they were going to try to come back after that second game, but we've seen this before where they take this really dominant game, but then it just goes right back to the guy who won the first game, it seems like.
Yeah, well, that will do it for the semifinal round. Again, we're not bringing you both of them. We just told you. Method got through over Gale Force Esports. Frontline over Excel. It's a collision course between Method and Frontline coming up. Best of 5 coming your way here in the Super Swiss Royale Grand Finals right after this here on Rocket League Central.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Rocket Royale here. Of course, kind of like when the Chiefs and I first started, that apparently we were going to be doing this situation again, where everyone wanted to jump into the matchup again, I guess.
Yeah, everybody wants to jump in, and you know what? Why not? We've talked so much about all of these teams, and it's late enough for them. They want to get into this grand final. Why not? Especially with the North American one coming right up in just a little while, as Metanoris will start things off. It is Team Method, formerly Team Secrecy, and I'm sure they'd like to just kind of forget those days, wouldn't we all? Now that they're under a much more stable org here, Metanoris able to get one in front with his teammates Magnus and Alat going up against this frontline team of Louis, Chaussette, and Farron. Trinidad, we were talking a little bit off camera about the differences between these two teams. One very much feels like a pickup team here in Frontline, certainly not with all the experience playing together that Team Method has, as Metanoris will throw one across here, and that's easily sent away by Magnus as well. But players that seem to have a chip on their shoulder as Bluey gets the opening goal.
Yeah, well done on his part here as Magnus just tried to get the strong clear from the backboard, but Farah able to read that location and throw it right back down, flip it to the other side, give it to his teammate Bluey, and nail that one on net.
So it is Method on the blue, Frontline in the lead in orange. And again, a best of 5 here in the grand finals. A lot of times you see a best of 7, you get a little more time to read your opponent, but you know what? Even at this level, you know your opponents by now. These players all intimately familiar with each other, as Metanoris will find a lot. That's on target, but Bluey is there. Of course, the best of 5 format mirroring what they'll see on Sunday when they try to make their way into either the RLCS or Rival Series. Bluey's going to get his second. He is on fire to start game 1.
Yeah, way to nail that one there. Is a second telltale situation like we talked about a second ago, where they try to just get a strong clear out, but it just went right back into their hands. So they just took that opportunity, shot it right back down their throats, and said, hey, cool, thanks for giving us the ball.
Metanoris now battling with Bluey. He's looking for an early hat trick. Farah's going to throw one in front, and Magnus has the clear, but guess what? Bluey's right there. He may have this as well, but Alat is going to clear it away. Farah also crashing the net. Plenty of offense for Frontline. It's not like Method haven't had shots. They had, a pretty strong following early on in this game, but they weren't able to convert at all. All of their shots were saved by Frontline, and as a result, well, you see the score line right now, 2-0 in favor of Frontline. And now Alat going to try to do something about that alongside Metanoris. It'll be thrown away, though. Alat misses here, and that's where the Method attack seems to stall, or not. Magnus can't get this really in front. It's not like anybody's crashing the net. It seems like a rather timid attack from Method.
Yeah, and, well, it's probably because of the fact that, I shouldn't say it's from Method. I was actually thinking Frontline for some reason. My mistake. Right now, it's surprising to see Method play as timid as they are because, like you said, this 2-goal deficit in a 2-minute span. Right now, what we've seen from the game so far is that apparently getting this 2-goal deficit in that 2-minute time span is a very difficult thing to do.
Louis now is, going to try to go after this. Metsonoris with one fake. Tried to fake out Chaussette as well. You don't really see Chaussette fall for that very often. Magnus flying in, though. He'll take advantage of the center from, Chaussette.
Yeah, he's going to nail that one there as Chaussette. Just, again, a situation where they punished the mistake of putting that one toward the middle. Magnus able to read that one right away and just place it dead center in the net. Well done.
All right, this is popped into the method zone. It'll be Magnus. He'll find a lot. Looking for Metsonoris. They get that 3-man passing play to work. Doesn't result in a shot, though. And in fact, ball is headed back towards the center line until Alot gets this dunk. And he'll even keep possession alive here. Not able to steal some boost in the front line zone, however. Bluey able to get there just as it spawns. Alot shot, saved by Bluey. They hold a 2-1 lead, and they'll hold it for just a little while longer as Farah tries to make his way downfield. Now Magnus. Oh, Metsonoris got bumped, so Magnus just takes it himself. He was going to pass that and then made the adjustment on the fly.
Man, that was well done from Magnus. First, it looked like he was just going to descend, but then he kept his momentum to put just enough in the air that he was able to keep that ball control over top of one opponent, but at the same time, taking it and trailing it underneath another opponent. So just a great sense of control from Magnus to be able to put that one through the net.
Now Farah in a newly tied game. What does Bluey have in store? For Method, it really does seem like any team with Bluey on it tends to rely on him a lot. And, you can't argue with the results. He's been one of the better players that finally gets a shot at the RLCS this season. Of course, the age limit being 15, he just hasn't been able to play. Scrubkill is in the same boat, though he is considerably further away from RLCS competition. Here's Bluey, the man of the hour, so to speak. Not able to keep possession there. Chaussette will keep it alive, though. Bluey, boy, they have played this game way up above the floor, nearly to the ceiling, and it's worked out somehow. You don't see it very often, even at this level. This is off the corner, and Magnus will clear it away. Now Bluey, only 10 seconds left. Metsonoris, easy clear. Looks like really both teams content to just go to overtime unless somebody makes a critical mistake. Bluey gonna spike that down, but there's still time on the clock. Doesn't matter, everybody had really backed off and we go to extra time.
Yeah, and right now both teams here, as we look at least on the stat side of things, they seem to be fairly consistent with each other here as we're presenting 9 shots versus 7. And so right now it doesn't seem like there has been a set of dominance from either team quite yet. We'll see if they're going to be able to carry this one out going forward. Right now, it seemed like Frontline was going to be able to take this one away at the start. Or no, I'm sorry. Method was the ones that scored. Goodness gracious, I flipped my own team color names and apparently I screwed myself up. This is what I deserve.
Yes. Yeah, Frontline had the opening goals from Blue, and I get what you're saying. It looked like they were going to run away with this. And then Method were able to bring it back. Bluey almost got that done all by himself, but it's Magnus who makes the save. Then Farah gets taken out. So no rebound play for Frontline. And now we'll see if Method can get something going here. It'd really be their first good opportunity in overtime, and Farah slams the door shut. Now it's Alot. Can he get things started for Method? He'll try again. Chaussette's there to greet him at midfield. Now it's Metsonoris for Alot. They had the 3-man play in theory, but in practice just doesn't work out thanks to the defense of Frontline. Proactive defense taking out the passing play there. We don't see it often enough, even in Europe.
Yeah, but even then, the rotations we always see from the Europe side of things is always really impressive because there's a lot of teams that just spread out and just try to set each other up directly, and that's one of the things you see on the top tier level with a lot of EU teams for sure.
Bluey comes down from the ceiling, tees the drop-in pop. Chaussette deserves to have this, and he does. Turns it into a goal in the end, but it wasn't without drama.
Bluey made a really smart decision to just take that ball right back down to the ground because he didn't think he was going to do anything with that ceiling shot because he just beamed that one straight. And I shouldn't say beamed. He beamed, not beamed, that straight at Bluey to be able to take that shot on net. And that was just a Chaussette, goodness gracious. I'm going to eventually get team names and everything else correctly. But Chaussette nailing that one right there was a great shot to see from him for sure.
Yeah, it's tough seeing Bluey on the orange side of the field. You used to seeing that name, and everybody tries to get him on the blue team. Unfortunately, we haven't done that because people behind the scenes. We're going to throw them under the bus. Not me. So 3-2, the win for Frontline in Game 1. Yes, Game 1. Certainly felt like that has been Game 2 or 3. That's what we can expect, I think, between these two teams. We may have all 5 games going to overtime. I know that's almost a caster's nightmare because you like to kind of preserve the pipes, so to speak. But if we get 5 overtime games between these two teams, I think it's worth it because you're seeing high-level Rocket League played at the level we expect from these two teams.
Yeah, and right now it seems like to me that both of these teams, in my opinion, still have something to prove as they're getting ready for the RLCS coming up here. And so that's a big thing for them going forward is that they really want to be able to get in those high contended spots and maybe improve their seeding for sure. That's going to be a big factor to help them out, especially with today's tournament.
Well, it's Farah. He's going to have the opening shot here a lot. Easily makes the save, and it goes back all the way to Chaussette. And we'll see who gets the first real possession of game number 2. It appears to be Frontline, as a lot has to drop that off to the side. Farah is set up. Doesn't really have a line to get a centering pass off. But they will set up that wall at midfield. Bluey, little drop in pop there, and a lot makes the save. Chaussette, his shot just kind of fluttering in, and Metanoris will have it. But Bluey, we've seen him dig deep into that bag of tricks on multiple occasions. He's a regular on the Rocket Dailies, and he almost gave us another sample of his brilliance there. Now Farah, all the way down, right at a lot. And Metanoris with the demo on Farah. That sets up Method, and that demo goes a long way in giving them a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, that's going to help him out right there as Metanoris just took that demo, which really helped him out right there. And then a lot just getting it right, just barely over top of Chaussette. And then giving them that 1-goal advantage now. Let's see if we're going to be able to maintain that lead.
Eye to the side here. And it's Metanoris leaving one for Magnus. A lot coming on. He'll get there in time. And Method's lead is 2.
Put a lot back on the board for another goal as Metanoris. Another good setup right back to Magnus, who, again, a testament example of just getting to the ball quicker than your opponents. Placing that one off of the back wall and leaving that opportunity there for a lot to take that shot on net. And just a good sense of execution from the team.
Now Metanoris looking for another. They can't extend their lead just yet. So it'll be Farah now. Quickly to the side for himself, for Chaussette. Good team play downfield, but it goes by the wayside right there. That last pass, not really on the mark. And now Method, boy, just moving as one unit towards the offensive end. They seem to have figured something out here in game 2. They're exploiting it. It's another pass off the corner here, and they really have this Frontline team just pinned against their own back line. They finally break free here. It's a lot making one save. Another shot goes just wide. Bluey has been so close on a number of occasions, but just not able to find the net. There's Magnus. That's the drop and pop from the ceiling with that delayed jump reset.
Let's just go ahead and enjoy this one here as Magnus gets that delayed flick, which was just absolutely beautiful to start with. But then he takes out Bluey as he's just about to make the save. And that is just, that's just savage. That's just mean. That's just nuts to take him out right before he makes the clutch save. It's like you got to feel bad, but at the same time, though, you also got to throw a PogChamp in there. Like, that was very entertaining.
Metanoris can't get this one around in front. Not that they really need any more goals at this point. It is still the first half, technically, of game number 2, though. It is, well, only 3. 3 goals, not a huge lead in Rocket League, as we've seen. Here's Metanoris waiting for this, and he does get that by Farah. Almost like he played him like a fiddle the entire time. Bluey, desperation clearance attempt, and that falls right to Magnus. and it's a good thing for Frontline that Chaussette was in the way. Another demo from Magnus, and the answer to how do you score against Frontline really does seem to be physical play. This Method team has used it to, well, great effect here in game number 2. They get another chance. Magnus, that one just threads the needle, almost like it had eyes on its way through.
Yeah, first Bluey just missing that by a hair over on the right-hand side, and Farah on the wall, not able to pull that through there. But Magnus, just a testament, like you said, just a testament example of just drilling it in the exact spot that you need it to go into the net.
4-0, the lead for Method, and it looks like it's only going to get worse. And no, it isn't. Magnus denied at point-blank range by Chaussette. And now it'll be popped up here. It stays in the zone, though. Look at Metsinoris. That quick turn keeps this ball alive for Method. And it's not until Farah gets the clear that they're able to get just a little bit of breathing room. Metsinoris with a whiff. That's going to give Frontline an opportunity, but they've been few and far between here. Don't let the 7 shots on the scoreboard fool you. They really haven't been high-quality opportunities, and this, the 9th shot for Method, turns into their 5th goal.
Yeah, nailing that one. First, Farah just couldn't get that away from Metsinoris, who just attacked him viciously over on the corner and leaving that opportunity for a lot to come in and just fight that one into the net. And now with that 5-goal deficit, it is pretty likely that they're not going to be able to come back. It's still possible if you're optimistic, but right now it's looking really tough for them right now.
Metsinoris, boy, he's got to be feeling it now. He's the only one on this team that hasn't scored in this game. Gonna feel like it's his time. He's certainly contributed on both sides of the field. He's got a couple of assists, and he has watched his team just lay waste to Frontline in this second game. Magnus gonna track this one down. Oh, he came up empty. Farah's got a free shot, and it's not until he gets the rebound that he finally breaks the shutout.
Yeah, here comes Farah here on the end, as Magnus just thought he could be able to get away with that, but mistimed that. And before he came back and recovered it, Farah was ready to rock and roll with that on the side. So that's going to be another one on net.
Well, 4 goals, 54 seconds. You wouldn't expect it the way Method has played in this game. But at least 1 goal gives you a chance if you're Frontline. Though not much else from that. Method missing here, though. It's off the crossbar from Farah. If they're going to come back, they need to convert goals like that. It's not the first one in that similar situation that they've missed. And I would think now with the clock hitting 30 seconds and them not being able to convert that goal, you start to look ahead to game 3 as if you weren't already.
I'm still a little disappointed that we haven't yet seen a Brazil in these situations like this, but I guess I'm just being a little greedy at this point, just asking for the 2 extra goals out of this situation. But just to come out of this, I think coming up into this next game, I really would like to see Frontline come out with a little more intensity than they did this game, because this for sure definitely seemed like this was Method's game to win.
Well, as we've seen from this Frontline team earlier in the semifinal round, no 2 games are exactly the same, are they? They're a team that, well, as you'd expect, I think, from a team that hasn't played together nearly as long as Method has. They're a team that's inconsistent. And, well, when it comes down to Sunday, which is kind of what this is all in preparation for, inconsistency isn't going to cut it. You've got to convert those opportunities when they fall right into your lap. We haven't seen Frontline do that consistently enough, at least not for my likings for today.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something that's got to be a little concerning, because a big factor going up into the RLCS is going to be the ability for you to stay consistent and be able to continue to push that high intensity level that you want your team to play as. And if you're going to be if you're going to keep bouncing around between playing phenomenal and out of your mind and being absolutely nutty, and then going and playing down to your opponent's level, that can be some potentially dangerous and scary stuff.
Loose ball in front here that Farah's going to take, but Magnus is up there. Good quick challenge from Team Method. This goes back down. It's an open net. I wonder if Bluey factored into that at all. He was down there, and so was Metsinoris.
Yeah, this was kind of an unfortunate moment as Metsinoris just put in the Field's backflip, which side note, was kind of smooth at the same time because he was able to do a good half flip on it. But yeah, that backflip hurt him. It wasn't able to contest to that and get there in time. So now that leaves a 1 goal capability right now here for Frontline.
Well, both Method and Frontline did go 5-0 in the Swiss portion of this Super Swiss Royale. Of course, then we broke it down into the top 4, and it was Frontline getting by Excel, which you saw a moment ago, and Method taking out Gale Force Esports in 5 games. So riding high off that momentum, Gale Force Esports not able to get through into the finals, but back onto this match, it's a lot tying things up. Not an easy angle.
Yeah, a lot, just putting the little extra touch on it. It's like adding the extra onions or extra relish onto your hot dog. I'm not really sure if it's a good comparison because we're currently in an EU environment, but I guess it depends if you like hot dogs. Anyway, that's not important anymore. Tie game.
Magnus now going to try to recover off the wall. He can't. It'll be Bluey just ahead of a lot. Farah able to hit the crossbar. You have to convert those, though. I mean, that's really a penalty kick. And something we're used to seeing Farah convert. You wonder if this were against maybe the leftovers, Farah probably converts that. It does seem like when he feels like he's got something to prove, that's when Farah steps up his game. He's got to find that spot, though, and, well, he has here to give Frontline the lead.
Yeah, great job from Farah to just take that one away. Again, we've seen this a lot in this finals, which kind of surprises me, where someone goes out for a really strong clear or tries to get a really strong clear, and it goes right back into the hands of the, was about to be defenders, but then offenders, is that they're going to come in and just take the ball straight away from them and create that shot opportunity on them. And that's something that you got to avoid, and you got to be able to put in a little more of a possession to in order to avoid it.
Farah with a long clear downfield. That's just to buy his Frontline teammates some time to reset. And they need to, as Method's still pouring on the pressure. They're not content to wait to score that equalizing goal. They're going to go on defense here for a moment, but here goes a lot. Looking for Magnus, but instead Chaussette is there. You have to feel like as soon as Method are able to clear the zone, they're going to set up for a while. It's Farah trying to get through Metsonoris. He can't. Here comes Magnus. That's on target, and he blows it right by Chaussette.
Goodness gracious. Another shot from Magnus where that one just threaded the needle with this one. Just look at this as it goes between Bluey and just barely hitting up top of, I didn't quite catch the name there. I think that was Chaussette or Farah there. Either way, just threading the needle right between one another to be able to put that one on net. Sometimes Magnus can just have shots like that where they're just right where they need to be.
Farah's going to play this one away. Magnus back in on the intercept, and just like that, Method are in front in game 3.
Yeah, a lot taking that one away. Well done from his part. First of all, Magnus giving that off of the back wall, putting that just out of Chaussette's hands and leaving that to a lot to be able to put that one over on the left side, be able to take that one away. Nice job.
Metsonoris on the kickoff against Chaussette. It's won by Frontline. Farah off the backboard. Well, he's done that plenty. Now Bluey leaves it for Chaussette, but that goes off of Bluey and across, and then a double commit may be fatal for Frontline. It kills off the attack. Boy, we've seen Farah time and again. He's had flashes of brilliance for today, but he keeps going way high on his shots, way over the crossbar.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that you got to be careful of, and something that we saw from Frontline once before, where they just took their shots and shot them a little bit too far wide, and that's a big thing you got to be careful of, because if you can't execute like that, like Bluey did right here, goodness gracious, just come and add a little bit of flair to this one. Wow.
Yeah, Bluey getting the tires on this. That's the only way he's able to keep that on target, as that just kills all the momentum of the ball. It's almost like it's bouncing off of clay as it finds its way into the net. Perfect shot from Bluey, as we're used to seeing. And certainly if Frontline go down in this series, it will not be through any fault of Bluey. That shot high and wide. Here's Bluey trying to drop one down and not able to find Chaussette. But there's Farah bringing another one in, and Magnus right there, making sure that doesn't drop down in front. It'll get to the front anyways, and Magnus is there again. Boy, Magnus putting in some extra work defensively here for Method as the pace of play is certainly picked up. Both teams really, I think, sensing the importance of this pivotal third game. And it's going to be Bluey that steals one from Farah.
Very nice there at the end. As first of all, Metza gets dunked, and then the ball switches the other side, gives it to Farah, which then Bluey just adds a little bit of extra speed to the ball to ensure that that was going to go in. That's exactly why he went for it in the first place. So now up 1 minute left to go. If they can maintain this lead, that's going to be a big fundamental thing for them for sure.
High scoring, high octane action. Somehow that stayed out. Chaussette hanging around at the goal line. That had to be about 90% across at least, and still Frontline by some miracle have a lead and some offense to work on.
I don't think I believe the posts anymore. Like, I don't even know if I can believe myself at this point anymore. Like, that was an absolutely, like, I don't want to say that was like the best save in the entire world, because at the same time, it was just him being in the right place at the right time. But man, you have to really just de-stress after seeing that one being saved if you're on that team.
Yeah, if you're Method right now, you're just wondering, how are we still trying to chase this game? This game should absolutely be tied. It was a great effort, but all great efforts only really work in horseshoes and hand grenades. Here's Magnus off the side. Nobody really pushing forward for Method, though. Chaussette didn't really need to bring that out into the midfield, but he did. It may not cost them, though, as this touches down right in front of the goal. Frontline take a lead here in Game 3. Now they're 1 win away from ending it all.
Yeah, and that's all that they need, as we're going to be sitting here. Remember, it is a best of 5, not a best of 7 here as we go into the finals. So that's going to be a big thing going forward onto the situation. Real quick side note, Chaussette kind of going back to his roots, because I remember him more as the defensive wall that he was. Of course, he has a lot more capable talents outside of that, but coming in with 4 saves, Farah helping out with 2 saves on that end is a big factor for sure. But just a side note to point out, Stacks, I don't know if you noticed this either, but Bluey has 2 goals and no shots.
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, that works because he got a couple of goal steals. He stole one from, actually, I think he stole one from both Chaussette and from Farah. And, well, because your last touch comes so close to the goal, it registers as somebody else's shot. You get the goal. That's, you know what, that's the kind of math we're used to from Rocket League, and it hasn't changed in 2 years. And you know what? I don't think it ever will. I want to see the 0-goal hat trick, though. That's what I'm waiting for. And if anybody could do it, it's Bluey, because who steals more goals, either in NA or Europe, than Bluey?
You're not wrong, and we'll see if they'll be able to do that one day. But this is potentially match point here, as Frontline is now 2 games over 1 here, facing off against Method, and it's looking comfortable from Frontline based off of that last game. But we've seen a lot of different polar sides of teams so far in this game, or in this tournament.
Metza giving chase against Farah. That's a soft shot sent away by Bluey. Now Farah to continue the play. That's going to remain in the zone. No, it won't. Magnus, what a challenge on the side. He got a second touch here. That's down. Barred down from a lot. Metza will score this, though, with just a bunch of chaos in front of the net.
Wow, just first, a lot getting the bar down, which I thought was going to be its highlight play, because Magnus in of itself already got the dunk, took it over, got the pinch from the corner, passed it into the center, and then I thought that was going to be ending with a lot, but thank goodness for his teammate just coming in and getting that shot on there. Good props to Metza for coming in on the rotation, but man, Magnus was doing work that corner.
Yeah, we like to joke around and have fun, but this is a serious spot now for Method. They can hold this lead. They go on to Game 5. What a save by a lot. More right place, right time than anything, but it works out. Method won't complain. Tough angle, but he can't find it. And now Chaussette will try to start the quick counterattack. Method had bodies forward, and Chaussette just lost possession. Not the way Frontline wanted to try and lead their comeback charge early here in Game 4. Now it's a lot. Looking to center this. That's a lot better, but Farah is going to have this away. Chaussette, by the way, that was not intentional. That goes off the backboard. Bluey, this will angle down, and Metanoris has the clear. Now it's Magnus. He'll clear away for Bluey. In front for Chaussette, but a lot is up there way ahead of time. Metanoris on an open net, hits the post, and then Chaussette gets in the way of Magnus. He got the demo, but didn't get the goal, and Chaussette's sacrifice is rewarded with an equalizer from Farah.
Speaking of rewards, just kidding. Farah is going to be able to take a good power shot there. Like you said, just risking that away for Chaussette to just put his body right in front of there, save the ball, throw it off the back wall, and give it to Farah, which acknowledged that they were out of position and was able to take that large shot from their side, and just put that one on net. Now tied up. We're going to see what happens here.
Bluey to send this one away. It's Farah. Now a lot. Can he get one more touch? He may not need it. Chaussette is there. He'll get credit for his save. You mentioned really where he burst on the scene was as a defender with Red Eye, and then, oddly enough, he took over as really the offensive threat in Season 3, and, well, here he is now, a very well-rounded player that probably doesn't get the respect he deserves still. Magnus will score right by him, though, so as we're singing Chaussette's praises, Magnus makes him look silly here right about at halftime.
Yeah, there's not much that you can do. When you take a backcourt pass at that type of velocity, there's not really a lot that you can do unless you can instantaneously teleport to the location. Chaussette tried to get up there in time, but he wasn't going to be able to do so, and that was just a good play to be able to keep that one out of Chaussette's hands before he came to it.
Chaussette to play this one around, but a lot is there. That's not going to clear the zone, though. This will. And that's well done by a lot, staying with the play and able to get this back into the frontline zone. Method trying to hold on to a lead yet again. They watched an equalizer sail in earlier. They've got two back defensively. Bluey denied by a lot there, and it really does feel like Method want to win a low-scoring affair. Problem is, many of these games have been very high scoring. It's been that kind of shootout that a pickup team like Frontline, again, they're a legit team now, but a team that doesn't have the same experience, you get the sense that they want to play those high-scoring games because it means the players are able to show off their individual talents, as Magnus just tries to keep that alive. He's not able to. Farah, backboard, set away by Metanoris. Good positioning defensively.
Yeah, we're going to see what comes out of this right now. As like you said, it's kind of surprising to see that this game has been as low scoring as it has been. But sometimes that's what occurs when you see this situation come through. And clutch from Farah as he gets another textbook pass from the corner from his teammate Bluey and just puts that one through. Nicely done.
These two teams are determined whether there's an audience or not to put on a show, and they certainly have here. 2-2 now here in Game 4. And the series still belonging to Frontline, but they'll need a goal to put this away. Otherwise, Method, if they score next, that may be the goal that forces Game 5. Backflip shot there from Chaussette, and the bounce in from Farah somehow saved by Magnus. Desperation effort there from Team Method, and they may be able to get downfield.
I thought for a minute that was for sure going to go through, and that bounce was just phenomenal. Got it underneath one, but couldn't get it over top of the other, and maybe just needed a little more power or just maybe a little more bounce to it, whichever you want to put on it first. But either way, 40 seconds left to go. We're sitting tied up, and this is right now do or die for Method. They need to be able to score if they want to be able to continue this matchup.
Magnus to throw this one across, usually kind of dangerous when you throw the ball across the face of your own goal, and they almost paid the price for it. They kind of have, actually, in the form of all this pressure from Frontline. Magnus now downfield, but they'll have to do so without Metanoris. Bluey tried to take advantage of that man advantage, and not the case. Now we're down to 10 seconds. Bluey drops another one off, but that's for Magnus. Here goes Method. One last chance to win it in regulation. This will touch down if Chaussette has anything to say about it, and it could be golden goal for the championship for Frontline.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting matchup here, as all it takes is one goal that's going to decide if Method is going to be able to win this and take the prize pool, or if this is going to go out and give the opportunity for Method to force a Game 5. And I guess we're going to Game 5.
Metsonoris makes another incredible save. This one, that ball, you didn't see it on the replay. That ball was halfway across. We've seen that at least 3 times in this series. But that stays out with all the added pressure of overtime. Method go downfield, score on an empty net. You wonder if Frontline just assumed that that ball was going to find its way in. Either way, Method have forced Game 5 under the most improbable of circumstances.
Yeah, just from going to the save, I think it was previous game, if not the game before that, where it came in and just had that shot that went from one side of the post to the next and then just barely getting out. And then this ball going halfway across the net and just barely getting that save in at the nick of time is just, it's phenomenal. The one thing I do want to point out, though, from this game, that Farah threw down 7 shots out of the 8 that Frontline put together here. That's kind of a surprising stat to put together if you're seeing that.
Yeah, again, 7 shots. You don't see that very often from one player. Even though that did go to overtime, it was only a few seconds. If you're Farah right now, you've got to be wondering, look, I just about gave it my best shot. What else do you have to do? Well, maybe the key really is for Frontline, get the ball to Bluey and get out of the way. Let's see what both teams use for their strategy here in Game 5. It is the final game of this Super Swiss Royale, the European edition. And it will go to either Frontline or Method. What a shot there from Bluey. That may have been intended as a little drop pass. Unfortunately for him, nobody really crashed the net. So Bluey's going to take matters into his own hands here. But the shot goes wide and a lot. Now going to try to slow roll Chaussette. And it has worked out, at least for a moment. They get a brief reprieve, and that's enough time for Metsonoris and company to get set up. Not enough, though. Chaussette comes flying in and throws a dart right into the center of the net.
Yeah, Farah just putting another really good one here in front for Chaussette to just take the shot straight on net. That's one of those passes that you love seeing because it's just so perfectly placed for his teammate to just come in, and all he's got to do is just put his body in front of him, and he's good to go.
That goal scored 1 second away from Blaze It territory as Bluey going to win the challenge here at midfield. And it's Chaussette now. Individual effort. Can he get the third touch? No. And a lot will try to clear, but he just can't. Bluey is right there in his grill. Frontline have renewed vigor here in the offensive zone. They are not letting Method breathe at all. A miss from Magnus. Every miss is critical, and everybody misses. Farah makes it 2-0.
You know, there is these kind of shots you can take where you put them in such a perfect location that even if it is placed at only the mere 33 kilometers an hour that we just saw, that it didn't matter. Both guys still ended up missing it, and that one nailed it right through the net. A great shot from I believe that was Farah, put that one through.
It was indeed, and now we're down to 340. What does Method have for an answer? We've seen they have not been counted out of any game. Magnus, that's not on target. It hit the crossbar by the slimmest of margins. They can't get on the scoreboard, but a lot is back, and that keeps it at just 2 as Metsonoris bombs one all the way down. A lot is there, but he can't catch up to it. Now Metsonoris towards the ceiling, and Magnus was up, but that passed nowhere near him. Now it'll be Chaussette for Farah. Good team play. They were kind of jumbled together there, but not really a double commit. And Metsonoris just drops that down for Bluey to send away. Nobody crushing the net there for Method. They know they've got time. They don't need to sell out completely on offense. They're still just inside 3 to go. Oh, Metsonoris drops one down for a lot. A patient play there under pressure for Method.
Yeah, well done from Metsonoris. Just put that one straight back down onto the net and leaving that over to a lot to just give the opportunity. So far, the plays that we've seen from this game have been very impressive to see, as the passes, have just been right on the money so far. So it's doing really well.
Bluey trying to time this coming off the corner. That's not an easy play, and maybe not one you necessarily need to make in that situation. That's, I think if you had to pick one shortcoming for Bluey, the most glaring one there is there, is that you try to do too much. You're maybe a little too confident in your mechanical skill, and there's certainly a lot to be comfortable with. But it does seem, Serenade, and maybe you disagree, but it seems like he just tries to make too much happen all the time.
Well, there's those points that you feel like that there's some games where you have to put 110% out there, and that's where what you're saying right now makes a lot of sense. And then there's some periods where you got to realize that your team is equally in the same momentum shift that you are. And as we're talking about this here, Bluey's just going to nail that one and just create his own play off of it.
Yeah, right place, right time to just bomb that downfield. And, of course, right after I said exactly what I said, Bluey goes and scores an unassisted goal. The only unassisted goal of this game. Then we may have another. Metzonoris has his shot stopped right at the goal line. Bluey takes out a lot, but Chaussette came up empty. And Method are going to get a free look at the offensive end. But not for long. Chaussette has that clear, and that one screaming across the zone. Not able to find any blue cars. This one does, and it's Farah that makes one save. Chaussette can't make the next, though. Magnus keeps the play alive for Method.
Wow, that's just how you keep the pressure building on them for sure. As Magnus puts a direct pass over to his teammate and then just stays in the vicinity to be ready to go when that shot was contested. And right place, right time kind of moment here. And Stacks, we're looking at that 1-goal deficit right now. They're trying to keep that fight going, and they're trying to see if they can get back with it. As Frontline's really seeing if they can pull away, but at the same time, we're seeing Method try to come back.
Farah to send this away for Metzonoris. Metzonoris, he got to rotate back now, and he does. And he's quickly onto this, too, coming off the side. It'll find its way to Magnus. Boy, Method, they're moving the ball laterally a lot. This is great if you're trying to kill time. But now it is getting to crunch time here. They're down a goal with a minute to go. Metzonoris kicks this out in front. A lot got a shot off, but it's going to be well wide. Opportunities like that, they're not going to come often. Down to 45 seconds. Bluey drops one in front. A lot has the save, and you wonder, how often will Method have somebody at the back? They need to chase this game now. Farah with Magnus trying to chase him down, and he has. Nobody was back for Team Method. Magnus got back just in the nick of time. Now he's got a chance. He's found a lot, and the shot goes wide again. Method are getting opportunity after opportunity. They can't convert, though, and it's not because of the defensive front line. The shots are just wide. Down to 13 seconds. Magnus, he'll try again. Third time, not the charm. 9 seconds left. Just set to pop this away, and he kept it out of the blue zone for as long as possible, and because he pulled the string, it throws the timing off, and Farah puts it away.
Yeah, and that's going to be your insurance goal right there, ladies and gentlemen, as everyone from Method just try to keep pushing forward and try to just get that miraculous tying goal, but sadly, sometimes you can throw everything at an opposing team, and unfortunately, it may not fall through for you.
And it does not for Team Method. It's Frontline that overcome everything, the disadvantage of not having that team experience that Method had. Well, they made up for it in raw mechanical skill. Farah, Bluey, and Chaussette, as much as all three of these players really tried to showcase their individual talents, you don't really feel like any one of them really stood out. Farah certainly did there on the scoreboard at the end, but it really was a full team effort in the end from Frontline.
Yeah, and to touch on that, where each player has like their own, I guess you could call it heroic trait, where each one had a particular thing where like, well, this is the part that they really contributed in. Like when you said that you saw these teams come together, or when this team, came together, and Farah throwing as many shots as they did on net, really kind of keeping us on the leaderboard for that purpose. Then Chaussette coming back, playing well and playing defensively. That was his big contribution. And outside of that, it was just an all-around player that came in for the side there. And so for them, just GG's. I think that was just a good way to continue to execute when Method couldn't put that through the net on their side.
Well, with all of these teams battling for, a little bit of beneficial seeding at the end of this RLCS qualifying period, it's pretty much set in stone now on the European side. The teams get a few more opportunities to jockey for position, but you got to feel like this was kind of the big one for the European teams, and Team Frontline have certainly done about all they could, really, over the past couple of weeks to give themselves a more favorable spot in the play-in bracket, and now it's time to hurry up and wait, so to speak, until Sunday, when everything is on the line for both of these teams.
Yeah, for sure. And as we come up with RLCS, this is going to help them out when it comes to seeding, if any contribution to that by any means. But, of course, adding a little bit of stats to that side is going to help you out here for sure. But that's going to do us here for the EU side of things. Remember, we're going to be returning a little bit later to come back with the NA side of things, if I remember correctly. I just need to make sure I hear confirmation. We hope so. Twitch has been having a little bit of an issue today. For those of you that are still in and tuned in with us, hi, glad to see that you're still here. We did receive something roughly about an hour ago saying that Twitch was having some issues. So that's going to wrap us here for the EU side of things, guys. We'll hopefully be returning back later on tonight here for the NA side of things here, more specifically West Coast. So I'm Spur today. Joining alongside with me is the wonderful Stacks, and we will see you guys here for the NA side of things later on.